Welcome to the AMSOIL GNCC Racing Series. We're out here in beautiful Morganton, North Carolina for round 4 of the GNCC season. We take a look at where we're at to this point. Through 3 rounds in the XC1, it's been all Caleb Russell with 3 wins to start the year. Can he make it 4 in a row? Then we think of the XC2. The battle in the first 2 rounds between Josh Toth and Ben Kelly, teammates, was stellar. But in round number 3, Josh Toth, with his worst finish on the season, puts him back in 3rd in points, opening up the door for Pascal Rockenecker, who's now in 2nd. It's anybody's game at this point. And then the XC3, that has been entertaining to say the least. The FMF XC3, the title sponsor from this season. The stage is set. I'm excited. You're excited. Let's take it down to Jared Bolton for a track description.
Thanks, Mikey. We return to Steele Creek for the 19th time. This is one of the oldest stops on the GNCC Tour, and it's stuck around for a long time with good reason. This is a good, classic cross-country track set in a beautiful location. Got a little something for everybody here. There's a little bit of tighter trail. There's a lot of faster trail. There's ups and downs. And then, of course, we've got the famous Steele Creek Bridge that everybody has to duck to make their way under. This is a really cool track. And there's something about this place that just brings out some amazing racing battles. And when you look back to guys like Chris Borch and Taylor Kaiser battling to the finish, you got the Barry Hawk and Glenn Carney battle to the finish from 2007 and 2011. So basically the exact same kind of race down to the wire between Charlie Mullins and Josh String. And I think the track itself kind of lends its hand to making those excellent battles. So overall, this is an excellent race course. I think everybody really enjoys coming here and hope it makes for a great show, too.
Thanks, Jared. Now let's take it down to Rodney Tomlin on the start line.
To operate your machine in a safe manner, maintaining control at all times. Extreme caution is required when approaching areas with high concentrations of fans. Do not take unnecessary risks that endanger the safety of fans. You will be penalized for reckless racing. Race fans, due to the nature of GNCC racing, there is no fence barrier around the course. It is your responsibility to keep yourself and your children a safe distance from the course. Never turn your back on oncoming racers, and remember, stay off the racetrack. And finally, for the safety of everyone, unauthorized drones are prohibited at GNCC and will be confiscated. Well, folks, as we get set to roll into this afternoon's race, I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize and remember a couple of individuals that were very near and dear to us here in the GNCC Racing Nation. As many of you that were here a year ago remember that just prior to this race, we lost 2 great people from not only our GNCC Racing Nation, from right here in the great state of North Carolina, Lenore to be exact, just a few minutes from where we are right now. Their family is here with us this weekend, and we want to welcome the Gregg family out. And we also want to take this opportunity to remember Chris and Cody Gregg as we roll through the mountains of North Carolina today. Godspeed to those guys, and I know that they would want you to have a great time today. Chris and Cody, thank you very much for all the great memories you gave us. And at this time, I'd like to take a great opportunity to introduce to you a very great individual from the state of North Carolina. He's also a GNCC racer himself. He is the actually the treasurer of the state of North Carolina, and I'd like to introduce Mr. Dale Falwell.
Thank you. Welcome, GNCC Nation, and on behalf of all the elected officials of our state, thanks for coming to the mountains of North Carolina. And let's give a big round of applause to all the first responders that made this event possible today. Thank you so much. Have a great race. God bless you.
Dale, by the way, a 2013 champion of GNCC Racing. Glad to have you on board with us. And at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Rick Lowry to ask a blessing on today's race.
Hey, let's go, Lord, and have a word of prayer together this afternoon. Heavenly Father, we do thank you for bringing us all together so we can have fun doing what we enjoy doing, racing these motorcycles, Lord. Just watch over these riders this afternoon. Let them go out there and have a good time together. Lord, just be with all the spectators and everyone that's gathered here. Let us have a wonderful afternoon. It's such a beautiful day. Lord, we want to ask a special blessing on our military men and women that's in all parts of this world each and every day, fighting for our freedom. Lord, we want to take a special thank you for the Kirk Kesselsley Foundation. Be with them, Lord, in the days they move forward, that they can make our sport more safe. And also the Gregg family, Lord, it has been a year since that tragedy. Be with that family. Sometimes it just takes years and years to heal. We never forget. We keep on remembering. But continue to be with that family in the days to come. Lord, we just thank you for bringing us all together. We know it takes everybody working together, the promoter, the landowners, the riders, the spectators. Every one of us has a small part in making such a special event. And we just thank you for letting each one of us be a part of it. Take us all home safely when it's over with, so we can get back together again one day. And we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you very much, Ricky. And at this time, I would like to ask everyone to please remain standing, stand at attention, remove those caps, and cross those hearts as we honor the greatest nation in the world with the playing of our national anthem. Well, thanks a lot, guys, and here we are down at the starting line as we get prepared to roll into our 19th running of this FMF Steele Creek GNCC. And now it's time to meet our starting lineup. 13 of the world's premier off-road racers have converged here to the great state of North Carolina, here to Burke County for this Steele Creek GNCC. And rolling to the line first today in accordance of points, riding aboard the number 1 from Booneville, North Carolina, 5-time GNCC champion and your current points leader on an FMF KTM Factory Racing KTM, Caleb Russell. Rolling to the line second today, he rides aboard the number 989. Hailing from Williamstown, West Virginia, the Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna Racing Husky, Thad Duval. Rolling to the line today, third in points. He rides aboard the number 514 from Belton, South Carolina on a Steele Energy Racing KTM, Stu Baylor. He is fourth in points. He is a true hometown hero from right here out of Morganton, North Carolina on the 739. He began his GNCC career here about 5 years ago. Today on a JCR Honda, Lucas Oil Fly Racing backed Honda, Trevor Bollinger. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 114, now a North Carolina native himself, formerly of Australia, on the Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna Racing Husky, Josh Strang. Rolling to the line next today, he is sixth in points aboard the 523 from Fairmont, West Virginia, on a KR4 Husqvarna, Lane Michael. Rolling to the line next, one of Carolina's own, the number 314 from Belton, South Carolina, on a Steele Energy Racing KTM, Grant Baylor. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 12 machine, out of Cookeville, Tennessee, on the Beta USA Fact Beta motorcycle, Jordan Ashburn. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 212 from Duval, Washington, on an AM-Pro Yamaha. He's rough. He's rowdy, Ricky Russell. Rolling to the line next, he is 10th in points, aboard the number 121 from Logan, Ohio, on a KR4 Husqvarna, Corey Buttrick. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 410 from Birdsboro, Pennsylvania, on a factory gas Fred Andrews racing machine, Andrew DeLong. The number 17 from Forked River, New Jersey, on a Solid Performance KTM Fly Racing KTM machine, Jesse Grom. And the 926 from Canada on the KTM Canada 4 Parts Canada KTM, Kevin Benoit. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this FMF Steel Creek GNCC as our riders make their way onto the starting grid now and prepare themselves for the last few moments here before the waving of the green flag and the continuation and heading into the final race of this FMF Steel Creek GNCC. A beautiful sunshiny day, a little on the cooler side of temperatures as we're barely 60 degrees today. We had rain showers yesterday and last night and even on Friday night. Nothing too torrential, but it was enough to make a little bit of a sloppy mess in the lower lying areas of this facility. However, the mountains and most of the trails are in prime and perfect condition here today, and we are anticipating some of the best racing this mountain has ever been able to produce in its previous 18 years. And folks, let me tell you, we've had some of the most monumental GNCC races ever take place right here in these mountains, and I have a feeling we're going to see something even bigger and better here today, as these mountains have something huge in store for all of us here in the GNCC Racing Nation. We turn our attention up to turn number 1, where Ricky Towery lets these riders know we are 1 minute away, 1 minute from going GNCC racing here in North Carolina, my friends. And of course, this is where some 300 riders begin to feel the nerves and the butterflies start to dance around as things are about to get serious here in North Carolina. All attention to Ricky Towery now. The next moment we see him, we will see a blue flag waving, which will indicate shut him down, shut him down, shut him down, shut him down. We are now less than 30 seconds away from going GNCC racing. And I got to ask you, North Carolina, are you ready to go GNCC racing? Wow. Wow, you guys are ready, but I think you're even more ready than that. So I'm going to ask you one more time. North Carolina, are you ready to go Steele Creek GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. Ricky Russell, a great kick off the line for him. He comes to that first turn. He's got company, though. Who's out front? It's the 926 of Calvin Benoit. Calvin Benoit out of Canada taking the early lead in this one. Caleb Russell in second. And Ricky Russell back in the number 3 spot. That looks like Josh String, I believe. They're about 4th or 5th place. XC2 250 Pro, Craig DeLong, Sam Evans, Dylan McIntyre, Cole Madison, Nathan Thornhill, Jason Thomas, Pascal Wachenecker, Austin Lee, Joseph Ferraro, Liam Draper, Josh Tope, Brendan Riordan, Philip Cheney, Harrison Helmick, Michael Witkowski, Scott Grills, Brian Dussault, Evan Smith, Anthony Federico, Tyler Braniff, Nate Smith. 10 seconds. Tegan Temple, Benjamin Kelly, Zach Nolan, Zach Hayes, Braxton McGee, Ryan Francis, Nick Davis, Trevor Barrett, Jonathan Grohr, and Jonathan Johnson. Oh, man, look at this. The 117, Pascal Wachenecker, and the number 1 defending rider in this class, Josh Tope. Josh Tope trying to go to the early lead. Let's see what happens, but Pascal Wachenecker cuts him off again. FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am. Jesse Ansley, Cody Barnes, Ryan Slopko, Ryan Lojak, Alex Teagarden, Eddie Lojak, Devin Welch, Colin Keegan, Jacob Rowland, Tristan Landrum, Hunter Shelton, Jason Langenbeck, Jason Raines, and Chris Vendetti, all ready to roll in 10 seconds. And they're off. The kickstarts are down. Jason Raines gets a good jump off the line, about a bike length lead into that first turn. Let's see if it pays dividends. It's going to be the 309. Alex Teagarden from Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, on a Coastal Racing Husqvarna backed by FMF, out to the very front of this pack. 258 class, Chase Hayes, Dakota DeVore, Blaine Kimmery, Matt Davis, Owen Guides, Barry Fernandez, Jeremy Lanthner, Keith Genley, Nathan Rector, Andrew Gross, Brewer Crawley, JoJo Bowden, Jeremy Anthony, Julian Bachniski. 10 seconds. Noah Stewart, Justin Blaylock, Marc-Andre Baudouin, and Simon Johnson. JoJo Bowden, I believe is how you say his name. I've called him Bowden for years. Let's see if it fires him up to get it said right today. The 59 machine, Dakota DeVore from Yerricksville, Ohio, on a Gutter Solution AES Drive MX back machine, takes the early lead. We go to the Open A class next. Levi Keller, Connor Smith, Ben Parsons, Zach Tussle, Jaron Williams, Evan Earl, Alan Jones, Jake Ross, Eric Guides, Harrison Schreier, Maxwell Randolph, Tyler Soriano, Drew Doran, Joshua Lee, Justin Leonard, Roger Jackson, Cope Beckert, Andrew Wilson, Matt Krebin. 10 seconds. Jason Lipkin, Colton Wilkes, Bryce Coster, and Corey Jordan. Riders rolling strong into that first turn. Oh, some going down. One stays up. It's the 192, Jake Ross. Jake Ross from Middletown, Virginia, taking the early lead. The 16-year-old. The 200A bike class coming up next. 200A. Joe Marsh, Michael Beeler, Dylan Zimpel, Chase Colville, Aaron Miller, Landon Lynn, Aiden Pogson, Trell Henderson, Cole Johnson, Ryder LeBlond, and Randall Irvin. 10 seconds. Ryder LeBlond 2-3 bike lengths leading as they came into that first turn. They crossed the whole shot stripe. He's got the early lead. New Florence, Pennsylvania, MXTire.com, Bell Helmets, EKS Brakes, brand-sponsored rider. 4-stroke E-Lights coming up next. Johnny Manera, Michael DeLosa, Justin Murphy, Eli Childers, Christopher McManus, Blake Gibbs, Hunter Williams, Brody Johnson, Blake Grindstaff, Russell Smith, Bolton D. Roth. 10 seconds. Brendan Poling, Luke Ross, Tyler Orfield, Tyler Daniel, Hayden Dillon, Danner Cowart, Jacob Chrisman, Brandon Keegan, Connor Keegan, Riley Johnson, Grady Faint, Nathan Davis, Kevin Dupius, Colton Brown, Nick O'Brien, and Braden Moore. And it's the 8:48 of Nick O'Brien. Nick O'Brien grabbing that early lead out of Chillicothe, Ohio on his Yamaha. Junior AB 25 plus class, Mark Horetzko, Andrew Boggs, Tyler Brutton, Casey Belt, Devin Burks, Travis Beam, Dustin Ulrich, Nick Mellinger, Nathan Zicklow, Brandon Marley, Joseph McCarty, Lucas Towery, Colton Hawk. 10 seconds. Jesse Kildo, Sammy Doris, Robbie Towery, Andrew France, and Matthew White. .367, Nathan Zicklow from Wintersville, Ohio. Yamaha rider taking the early lead there as we go to the Bet 830 plus class. Sam Forrester, Sean Royal, Kevin Rammer, Louis Oleon, Surly Amarico, Sam Chalk, Nathan Alring, Matthew Pertola, Buddy Barnes. 10 seconds. BJ Baritska, Brandon Ladon, Bill Zavindi, Nick Capasso, and Nicholas Nyman. Surly Amancio. That's it, Amancio. Didn't get his name right until it's too late, but the 191 gets out front. Not sure who that was. Didn't see his helmet number, so here we go to the Senior A class. Jeffrey Odell, Shotgun Sean Remington, Frank Tussle, Gregory Richardson, William Lackey, Eric Rothenbush, Patrick Tobin, Chris Levin. 10 seconds. Bob Bergman, John Beaver, Kevin Knott, Rick Burton, Joe Kessler, Shannon Hatfield, Larry Sylvia, Ian Sherwood, and Jeremy Dexter. See if we can steal a number off of this one here. 366. That's Eric Rosenbush from Beach Mountain, North Carolina. The Bet B 30 plus class now. Wes Morris, Larry Hopper, McQuaid Gomez, looks like Sean Morris, Ryan Champion, Joshua White, Jeremy Stowobi, Randy Revord, Dustin DeLozier, Nick Plank, Gary Basang. Less than 10 seconds to go for Steve Bruno, William O'Brien, Joshua Humble, Ian Troublefield, Willie Baker, Justin Ramsey, Ross Kennedy, Neil Hood, Mike Swartz, Jordan Overfield, Chris Stretch, Matt Modick, Ben Conaway, and Doug Bess. Wes Morris out of Fraser's Bottom, West Virginia on the AOMC Pro Action machine. Backed by Morris Racing. Open B class, Matt Sorge, Peyton Harden, J.J. Godlick. 10 seconds. It's actually Goldick, Jordan Lawson, Brent Spalding, Dakota Turner, Dylan Turner, Evan Young, Trenton Boffman, Cody Hobbs, Seth Patton, Joshua Webb, Max Horetzko, Andre Cohen, Joe Doran, Matt Bruffy, Jacob Barnes, Ryan Kerr, Dylan Ely, Corey Burton, Andrew Davis, and Drew Norris rounding that first turn. 450 on the helmet there. That would be Matt Bruffy from Weston, West Virginia on the ST&E MPH Enterprises back machine. Senior B, Jeffrey Flint, Mark Proper, Leon Whitaver, Devin Ferguson, Bo Hamlet, Ken Anderson, Michael Eller, Jason Stickley, Joe Maurice, Gary Bryson, Gene Swidwa, Darren Darmos. Less than 10 seconds to go for Keith O'Toole and Scott Matheny. Ricky firing them off one right after another. 300 riders on this racetrack today. Well, 299 if you want to get technical, but 448 leading this one. That's Jason Stickley from McDonald, Pennsylvania on the Lenovo Racing Steele Motorsports Stickley hauling back machine. So lots of riders on the racetrack, and the 4-stroke V class has 14 more in 10 seconds. Garrett George, Joe Spivey, Giovanni Lombardi, Orion Gregory, Garrett Robertson, Zach Maley, Chad LaFollette, Gatlin Welburn, TJ Fine, Tyler Sylvia, Mac Reimer, Tyler Gentry, Caleb Kindler, and Billy Saliga. Saliga. And up front it's 715 of Mac Reimer out of Saxonburg, PA on a low jack Cyclefly Racing Kenda Tires machine. 250 B class, Grant Kerfman, Cody Moorhead, Kyle Prismont, Jake Borum, Philip Decanese, Kevin Cotton, less than 10 seconds to go for Robert Whitlock, Landon Ray, Gary Greer, Sean Cochran, Aaron Waldrop, Franklin Brown, Ian Flynn, Jake Hansen, Jake Kelly, Cole Whitmer, Zachary Sanders, Andrew Coffey, Jack McMakin, Blake Bowman, Adam Williams, Dustin Stanley, and Wilson Airheat. Cole Whitmer out Amity, Pennsylvania on an Ampro Yamaha backed by Waynesburg Yamaha and Answer Racing. Jumping out to the early lead in this one. And one more. Ready to roll the 200B in 10 seconds. Sean Myers, Trent Gaither, Chase Hall, Ryan Ladon, Michael Overstreet, Tanner Kerfman, Jedediah King, Sloan Gregory, Robert Hancock, Justin Gibbs, Jacob Harmon, Ethan Zahora, Jonathan Trump, Jack Bryant, and Colby Davis. And it's 391. Sloan Gregory from Lawrence, South Carolina on a Gregory Service Neely's flyback KTM. And if I'm not mistaken, that's it, my friends. The start is complete, and that's the final one of 2018 here at Steele Creek. Who's going to come out on top of this one? We got Caleb Russell, who's obviously on his streak, and then you've got Thad Duvall, who's been right on his rear tail. But also, this place has some, history with Thad Duvall. Can he best the mountain today, or will it bite him back? We'll find out. Stick around. GNCC Live continues after this.
When it comes to guarding your diesel engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance you demand. AMSOIL Signature Series diesel oils provide 6 times more wear protection than required by a leading diesel engine manufacturer. Give your hard-working truck the protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection. See the whole line of diesel products at amsoil.com/diesel.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser.
Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best?
The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
What is your passion? Hitting the perfect line, finding the perfect trail, routing the perfect adventure, or just living and breathing the moto life? Do you feel pride for a job well done after tackling a late night in the shop? Do you enjoy time spent with friends and family in the great outdoors? Spanning over 3 decades, one name has taken the lead for supplying the best powersport parts, accessories, and apparel to fuel your passion. One name that knows it goes beyond getting you the best prices, quickest shipping, or largest selection. One name that builds and innovates for our industry. One name that teaches, helps, and supports our fellow riders, racers, and organizations. We are Rocky Mountain ATV MC. We have transformed a team of moto enthusiasts into a powerful teaching team to ensure that you make the best purchasing decision with your hard-earned cash. We build communities with fellow riders to provide you with all you need to make a good decision. See customer photos, reviews, Q&As, and more while you're on our easy-to-use website. Need help fast? Live chat with our specialists, email, or drop us a line. Visit us today and experience the best in OEM and aftermarket parts, accessories, apparel, and industry-leading information. We offer lightning quick shipping, free on orders over $75, a huge inventory, free apparel exchanges both ways, and customer service that leaves all others behind. Experience one name that leads all others. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
The AMSOIL GNCC series on RacerTV is brought to you in part by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready. And Monster Energy, unleash the beast.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here. Mikey Waynes along with Johnny G. Johnny Gallagher in booth with us. And welcome to round number 4 of the AMSOIL GNCC Racing Series here in Morganton, North Carolina for the FMF Steele Creek. We've got an 11-mile course today. The race, of course, 3 hours with weather, sunny and beautiful. Completely different from, Johnny, what you had to face yesterday. My, how things change in the mountains of North Carolina.
Yeah, 24 hours can make all the difference, and here it definitely has today. I mean, yesterday we were looking at threatening skies, and we knew we had a mutter on the way, and had already had quite a bit of rain, obviously, on Friday night. So now it's just a little bit extra rain overnight. Last night, obviously, made the track nice and gooey. There we see Jared Bolton, one of our track crew members, and now track sweep, double duty going by there on screen. But you can see the ruts. It's really rutted out. The track is going to be slick underneath, but realistically, Mikey, I mean, you couldn't really ask for better dirt for about 85% of this track. Unfortunately, the other 15%, it leaves a little bit to be desired. It's soft, it's ruddy, and it's going to provide a great racing surface.
Well, I think to get things started out, we're going to take a look at some of the replays from the start of this race, the XC1, XC2, and the FMF XC3. So here we go, the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Rapid Replay. Kevin Benoit taking the whole shot out of the XC1. How about that? And then second behind him, when it was all said and done, was Caleb Russell and then Ricky Russell. A great start to this race. That is good to see. He's had a rough start to this season. He's third into the woods there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it looks like things kind of sorted themselves out there. Not what you expect to see. Caleb Russell getting a good start, and usually he's not up there, although he did get the whole shot at the last race. This one, it looks like it was Pascal Rocknicker with the whole shot on the 117 Coastal Racing Husqvarna with Josh Toth, the #1 FMF KTM, right behind him there in second place. So those are the guys we expect to see up front, and they're right up front off the clip there. We see a rider down going into the woods there. So that's going to make a little bit of a tougher climb for him the rest of the day.
It'd be interesting to see how Josh Toth's hand holds up today too. And now we're taking a look at the FMF XC3. Alex Teagarden hard on the throttle, unanimously taking that whole shot. So he is off to a great start out of the FMF, our title sponsor this weekend here at Steele Creek, the FMF XC3 class. Those 125s working through there. So that's how the stage is set, or I guess how the show started. I guess the stage already set, but here we go, getting a look at this Parts Unlimited section, and I believe we'll be seeing the leaders come through this section soon, I assume. Maybe?
Yeah, it looks like we're waiting on them here, and I think we've also got a track map that is going to show us just exactly how this 11-mile Steele Creek course is laid out here. And here we are in beautiful North Carolina, very picturesque mountains, great views from everywhere around. We're down in a valley here. We start off at right in the start in the open fields here, and we work our way through. Mikey, it's a lot of ups and downs here. As you can see, the course kind of winds its way through. When we get up to that 5-mile marker, we've got Monster Mile, and then we work our way all the way back around to just after the 9-mile marker. We have the FMF Power Point. So that is a look from atop You can see we run all the way out to the main road. You can see right now when this Google Images was taken, it wasn't all full, but if you can see that right now, it's nothing but rigs, wall to wall. This place is absolutely packed, fans everywhere. Great time had by all, and absolutely, nothing but fun being had here this weekend. The racing action has been hot and heavy. Yesterday we had a battle all the way down to the finish, and today we're expecting more of the same.
That's right. That's absolutely right. One of the big things I've heard from the youth to the micros to you guys yesterday, the biggest thing they've had to deal with here is there's not a lot, there's really no open field sections. There's a lot. You've really got to pick and choose. There's Caleb Russell on screen right there in the first place position already out in front. But it seems to me like everybody's had to really pick and choose where they're going to make passes, not a big selection.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at this. Caleb Russell has opened up a gap here early, and I know that this was part of his strategy. He wanted to try and get a good start. He knows this track is hard to pass on. And I'll tell you what, from experience yesterday, it proved to be very hard to pass on. So to get out front early, and who is it trying to track him down?
Who else?
You know what? It looks to be the 989. I don't even see the number yet, and I can tell. There he is, Thad Duvall, hard on the gas. He's going to get aboard here, and they're going to say, Caleb plus a lot. And at that point, Thad Duvall is going to twist the throttle to the south because he does not want to let Caleb Russell get away. Ricky Russell starting second, now up in the third place spot. And he is charging, trying to close that gap to the front two runners. Believe that is Stu Baylor coming next. There he is, Stu Baylor in fourth, the 514 machine, followed by Trevor Bollinger, I believe that was.
I think you're right.
Yep, there we go. And there is Josh Strang on the 114 Rockstar Racing Husqvarna. We got too many Husky teams out there. That looks to be Jordan Ashburn on the factory base, just catching a quick glimpse. There is Grant Baylor, Teely Energy Racing teammate of brother Stu. And these guys are really strung out here early. I'm kind of surprised by this because yesterday things were pretty bunched up throughout much of the race. But these guys are really stringing together some impressive speed here early to try and stretch it out. That looks to be Corey Buttrick with the hedge. Corey Buttrick, the number 121 rider. He's coming by. That puts him in about the 8th place spot, followed by the 523 of Lane Michael. So Lane has been pretty consistent through the first 3 rounds. In the top 5 or 6 there. I believe that was our whole shot winner there. I don't know if we have a number on him, but I think that was him. We'll have to get an entry list. I think that was him just coming by there. We should now be seeing our XC2 guys start coming through, and there it is. And look at this. Ben Kelly, who was not even in the top 3 off the start, has taken over the lead and is starting to pull away, but I see Josh Toth is right there behind him. I think Pascal Rocknicker may have been one of those other bikes that came through there. The other one was an XC1 guy. So look at that. If that is the case, we've got 3 XC1 heavy hitters up, or XC2 heavy hitters up front and battling here early. This is here. That's the 723 machine, it looked to be.
Not sure.
We'll see when they check in. They're coming to the finish here in just about a mile from where we see him on screen. So Caleb Russell, Thad Duvall, and Ricky Russell, your top 3 in XC1. Josh Toth, Pascal Rocknicker, and Ben Kelly, Pascal Rocknicker, and Josh Toth, your top 3 in the XC2 Pro Lights class. So if we're going to stay on this shot, there is Austin Lee, the 123 Mohawk man, working his way through. He looks to be just outside the top 10 in the XC2 Pro Lights class. And, honestly, Mikey, the track looks so great right here. The dirt really is good, but I promise you, if you had some camera shots out in these valleys, there is some really challenging terrain, especially once lappers get involved. These guys obviously run through no problem. Once the lappers get involved, things are going to get complicated.
And it doesn't seem like here in these the mountains of North Carolina it takes much before these rocks start working their way to the surface of this. And one of the things out of the XC2 to keep an eye on, Josh Toth and Ben Kelly duking it out in round 2 and 1, and then last round, round 3, Josh Toth suffered an injury to that hand. He's out here racing. He talked about it a little bit. It is bothering him. We're going to see if that great start, that's exactly what he needs, but is it going to affect him as the day goes on, or will he be able to maintain? That's got to be motivating to him to be out front early.
Absolutely, and especially on a track like this, the last thing that you want to do is get yourself, in the back when you're not at 100% physically, because it takes so much effort to make those passes. But I'll tell you what, Mike, look at how beautiful this place is.
It's incredible.
This is a drone shot we had from a little bit earlier during the morning race, I believe, and it just shows actually Barry Hawk many years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Took a little drink in this creek right here, right off this bridge, just right about there is where he came off Now in VP Fuels Pro Row,
Wow.
Caleb Russell, the #1 FMF KTM, hard on the throttle, and he has opened up a gap. We'll see exactly what that gap is as they come through.
I don't even hear the next bike yet.
I've got a
Where
time
is
on
Thad
my
Duvall?
watch. And next we'll be watching for the 989 Husqvarna of Thad Duvall, followed by the 212 of Ricky Russell.
What's the time?
Man, I've got 24 seconds.
Whoa, that's big. Lap 1.
Yeah, 24 seconds. That's a pretty big gap, and it feels like bigger than that, to be honest with you. We'll see if we can refresh our live scoring to see exactly what the official gap was. Now here comes Ricky Russell in third.
Ricky Russell. So Ricky Russell just went by out of the pro pits. That looked like Trevor Bollinger right behind
It was
him.
Trevor Bollinger, followed by Stu Baylor, and then Josh Strang and Jordan Ashburn on the factory beta. So those are your top 7 as they run. They have come through, and I was close. 24 seconds is what the gap was at the finish. What did I say, 23?
Yeah, that's close.
That's
within a second.
A little off, a little off. Our top 10 now have checked in, and it's Caleb Russell, Thad Duvall, Ricky Russell, Trevor Bollinger, Stu Baylor, Josh Strang, Jordan Ashburn, Grant Baylor, Corey Buttrick, and Lane Michael, rounding out the top 10 in the XC1. Now, our XC2 riders should start checking in here, and that is going to shake things up for the overall. Caleb Russell on screen at the 1.5. He's working his way through. This is kind of a serpentine section, and he looks like he is just on rails. With a 24-second gap, he's doing all he can to stretch that out. I'll tell you what he's doing right now. He's trying to sprint. He has not yet had this opportunity this year to get out front and try and open up a gap and break Thad Duvall early, and that's what he's trying to do. Now, if he's not able to do it, he'll regroup, and we'll get to see one of those classic Thad and Caleb battles right down to the finish. But right now, he's going to try and take Thad into his red zone and hopefully try and pull away if you're Caleb. Now, if you're Thad, you take the urgency and you know, I need to, even if he chips it down just a little bit, if he gets it from 25 back down to, say, 15, Caleb will have no choice but to let up, let the race come to him, gather himself, because nobody can sprint all the way to the finish. It's physically impossible in a 3-hour race.
It's for sure. It's one of those things that Caleb's been talking about.
Trevor Bollinger has made his way around Ricky Russell and into the 3rd place spot. So there's the hometown boy, and when you say hometown, I'm pretty sure Trevor Bollinger lives on this property somewhere.
That's just about right. I think earlier he was saying maybe 20 minutes from here, so this is as home as it gets.
Riding well up into a podium position. Jordan Ashburn has made his way around Josh Strang. So Strang falling back, was in the 6th place spot, now back to 7th. Ashburn up to 6th. Grant Baylor has closed the gap up a little bit. He is up a little bit closer to the back of now Josh Strang. So this is the best we've seen Grant look so far this year. He's been steadily improving, coming in a little bit weak off that shoulder injury. Caleb Russell at the 2.5 mile marker, coming by all those Maxxis banners. And again, when's the last time you saw Caleb charge this hard early in a race? He's on
incredible.
a mission to try and get away.
He is. That's one of the big things Caleb Russell has been talking about. He just seems to honestly be having fun this year. It seemed like it was all business last year. This year he seems loose. He's out there. He's doing his own thing. Johnny, I think you got the timer on Thad Duvall here.
Wow, did you see that foot off the pegs? I'm going to tell you right now. We're at 20, 21, 22, 23 seconds. So they're stabilized right there
right
at that
on
24, 23 seconds is where they're at. So, but Thad Duvall, his feet were off the pegs twice on that downhill, and he almost lost the front end. That just shows right there. These guys are absolutely pushing the limit. Caleb trying to stretch that gap out, Thad trying to reel it back in, and this is going to be the tail of the tape. They can't possibly hold this pace for the entire 3 hours, so who's going to break first? Is Caleb going to say, all right, that's enough of that, and let Caleb and let Thad come to him? Or is Thad going to break first and let Caleb get away? Or can Thad run him down?
How much of a factor, Johnny, at a track like this with very few options to make passes, how big of a factor are the lappers, especially in a 3-hour race?
Honestly, in a 3-hour race, it's going to be a factor. But the biggest thing is how big of a factor it's going to be early, which is really going to be determined right now by what we're seeing on screen. And what it is Caleb sprinting as he opens up that gap. You know, he's got 24 seconds. That can disappear literally in one tight section with the 2 lapped riders. But depending on where they fall, if he hits a clear section of trail and gets through something, that's kind of why these guys, you see them early in these races, especially at these tighter tracks, they want to stay bunched up so that they're passing the lappers together. When you get strung out, you get that inchworm effect. You get that one guy gets out front, one guy comes back to you, and what happens is, I mean, and sometimes it really is just a matter of kind of luck of where and when you hit the lappers. It could be a huge advantage of 20 seconds one way or the other, and, you know, twice in the same lap, if you're on the good end of it versus the bad, that's a 40-second swing.
Yeah.
That's a game changer right there.
That's for sure. You know what? We saw something similar yesterday.
There's Ben Kelly. I didn't mean to cut you off. That is our XC2 Pro Lights leader. And here is Josh Toth. Don't know if that was. We'll try and get a look. Can't quite get him. I think that may have been Pascal Rocknecker in between them. That is our whole shot rider, Kevin Benoit there that just came by on screen. So we'll assume that is Pascal Rocknecker there in between. We only got a very brief shot of him, but it appeared to be him. The riding style looked about right. So we think the top three in XC2 have stabilized, with Ben Kelly leading the way, Pascal Rocknecker in second, and Josh Toth in third. And those guys did just come through at the 2.5-mile marker of this 11-mile course.
Well, how about Trevor Bollinger, a guy that has flirted all season long with being one of the top guys? If he can make that happen here in the home state today, running third place right now and pacing very well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and there's no question, Mikey, that, you know, when you come to a home state, not just a home state race, but a hometown race for Trevor Bollinger. I mean, he's a Morganton boy. We're in Morganton. This is where his, you know, we talk about this all the time when we say we're going to come here and while we're here, but it's true. This racetrack built Trevor Bollinger's GNCC career. He came here just for a one-time race. Yeah. He ended up doing well, and he started chasing the rest of the series that season, ending up winning a championship in the 4-stroke A lights class, which has blossomed into a successful XC2 career with a championship, and now in the XC1 class racing for podiums, and certainly someday gunning for a championship. Following in the paths of riders like Caleb Russell, Thad Duvall, the riders that have come up through the ranks and are now up battling. We actually had a chance to check in with Thad Duvall before this one. It's been a torrid battle through the first 3 rounds with him and Caleb, wheel to wheel, so many races, and we got his thoughts coming in here to round 4 at Steele Creek.
Should be fun. I really like this place. It's never been really good to me. I've had a few injuries here, but I really enjoy being here. It's one of the rougher tracks on the circuit, so, and now it's raining, so it'll be pretty gnarly, I think, for sure. You know, it's pretty already polished from the quads today, and you know, I think it'll be super slick tomorrow and rough at the same time. And you know, when it's like this, the track crew does a good job of I guess getting the track ready for us. You know, they try to take the dozer around and fill in a bunch of stuff, and sometimes it makes it worse, sometimes it makes it better. So hopefully tomorrow it's one of those days where it makes it better. And you know, coming off last race, I felt like I had the win and just didn't capitalize at the end. You know, I think we passed each other like 3 or 4 times the last lap, so it was a good race. Just needed a little bit more at the end. You know, we battled all the way down to the finish once again, so it's a good battling, but just tired of getting second for sure.
Man, this place, you never know what you're going to get. If you go half an hour back down the hill, it's probably sunny and 70. So yesterday we come up here, it was a little chilly, and get back home, I'm about an hour from here, it's like 75 degrees or something. So just here at the base of the mountain, you never know what you're going to get. I think one year they had snow here actually, and then there's been a couple of years where it's been real wet. And by the time we go racing at one, it might be a little bit wet in spots, but I think it'll be good. Keep the dust down anyway. I'd much rather race in the mud. Race in the mud than the dust. Thad and Caleb, they're on another level, I guess. And it's years ago. I mean, I felt like I was on that level, and that's just something that I just have to step up. And I feel like I've been working fairly hard and on some things that I felt I was not so strong at. And I think the last race in Georgia, we were close towards the end, and just a few mistakes landed off the podium, but I think I'm right there. So just keep plugging away, having fun, and I mean that's what I'm doing. I'm having fun racing. It's good. The track's been good this year, and so far, I mean the dirt's been good as well. So I think overall, I just need to go out and have a good fun race.
Like you said, we've been there, and I think us 4 have really separated ourselves from the rest of the field. And you know, I've always liked this track. You know, I live like 10 minutes away, so. You know, I'm looking forward to getting out there and just seeing how everyone's doing and try to separate ourselves at the end. The dirt's a little different, but you know, it's the same terrain. It's really hilly at my house, and same thing here. So, and we have a bunch of tracks around here that I ride all the time that the dirt's pretty similar. So, sure, I've always had a little mental edge when I come here. You know, all my family and friends, and yeah, it's good. I love this place. It's just like home. So, yeah, hopefully it gives me a little edge, and we can pull out a win or hopefully a podium tomorrow.
You know, it's just part of the show, Rodney. Like, I guess everybody has an image. I got mine. You know, mine's the kind of laid back. I don't really care. I don't care what you think. It is what it is, and I'm having fun. You know, I like to go racing because I enjoy it. I don't care if people look at me, laugh at me. It is what it is. Did this one for the crowd, the hometown Burke County Rebels. You know, you pull in, there's a rebel flag on the side of the highway, and you feel right at home. At least with a mullet and a cracked tooth, you do. I got my teeth fixed from our big buck accident. Eating chicken wings a couple of weeks ago or last week, and bit into a chicken wing and snapped out the temporary. So got my new teeth coming, and you know, I looked in the mirror on Wednesday when they called and said your teeth are here, and I was like, you know what? This is Steele Creek. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Just grab it by the horns, wrestle this baby down. We're going to put a mullet on and go without a front left tooth and see what the fans think.
Well, how about that, Stu Baylor and the rest of the gang there? Doesn't get much better than that. So there we got the word from those guys, I believe. We're going to find out more about this race here in just a moment when GNCC Live returns.
When it comes to guarding your diesel engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance you demand. AMSOIL Signature Series diesel oils provide 6 times more wear protection than required by a leading diesel engine manufacturer. Give your hard-working truck the protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection. See the whole line of diesel products at amsoil.com/diesel.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser.
Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best?
The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
for those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
The AMSOIL GNCC series on RacerTV is brought to you in part by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, Rocky Mountain ATVMC, get ready, and Monster Energy, unleash the beast.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Mikey Wayne's here along with Johnny G, Rodney Tomlin, and our winner from this morning, Max Fernandez, joining me in the booth. I think we're going to take a look here in just a moment at some of the highlights. I think we're going to take a look at the micro highlights from yesterday, as well as the youth highlights from this morning. So these are the future of GNCC racing right here, if you will, the micros from yesterday. Max Fernandez, you remember running those way back in the day?
Yeah, that was a while ago.
You've graduated since then, moved up to the youth ranks. Well, this is the future of GNCC right here. These guys actually race on Saturday, so this is some footage from yesterday evening of these micros out here prepping. You can tell if you've seen the screen this morning or this afternoon, completely different conditions compared to yesterday. Yesterday, it was muddy, it was slick, it was foggy, it was nasty. They're a micro going down right there in the whole shot area. And they're out on the track. These guys, I'm telling you what, you see a lot of those pro guys can show love and confidence, but these guys, they've got it all, man. They've got what it takes, and they take it seriously. You can see what a difference a day makes. You can tell how greasy that track was here in North Carolina for the micros yesterday. So a big, our hats off to those guys, and want to thank them for coming out and racing. There's a shot of a time-lapse shot, if you will, of the finish line, getting the 2-lap card for these guys. Look at that. Tight racing action for these guys. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it was Mason Rayner who took the checkered flag. Look at that, tight racing right there. He says, there you go, Mason Rayner, you're the one. He said, and you got one more lap. Head on out there, 135.
Max Fernandez,
So
round 4 here. Steel Creek, first win of the year for you.
Yeah, it was awesome. I don't really know how to describe it. I got off to the early lead, and me, Peyton, and Palmer we're just battling the first couple laps, and then I guess Peyton's bike blew up, and then I tried to gap on everyone, and then I just tried to stay consistent from there.
Well, it certainly paid off, man. This is an indication of what we'll see from you the rest of the year?
Hopefully. I'm going to try.
There you go, Max Fernandez with the win this morning at the FMF Steel Creek.
Well, there you go, Max. Here was the highlights from this morning. So talk to me, man. First win on the year. How you feeling about that?
It's awesome. Worked pretty hard for this one. As far as the gym goes, I couldn't really ride too much this week because pretty muddy out and just put some bike problems on my practice bike, but we made it work.
You certainly did, man. So first win of the year. I know you've been up there battling with the likes of Peyton Whipke a lot. Talk to us a little bit about the battle you've got out there and just what it takes. I mean, you guys, I get to sit there and watch it from the finish line, and I really believe that out of the YXC1, you've got one of the toughest classes out there. So what's that battle like week in, week out?
Yeah, so usually I'll start off with a hole shot, and then he'll catch me a couple laps in, and then first 2 rounds I had problems with my bike, and that caught me, I kind of dropped back a lot, and but yeah, he catches me a couple laps in, and we battle a little bit, and then he just pulls on me. But yeah, that's about it.
But there you go. Today you were the day, man. You won that thing today. So Max, big thanks for joining us here in the booth, man. Are we going to see you in the booth a few more times this year with some wins?
Hopefully. I'm
Hopefully,
gonna try.
man. All right, brother. Well, congratulations to you. Thanks for joining us, Max. Go out there and enjoy the race. One last thing. Any advice for these pro guys out here this afternoon?
I guess try and be smooth and do the best you can to make good lines.
Very good. Max, again, thanks a lot for joining us in the booth, man. Enjoy the race. That's Max Fernandez, the youth winner from this morning. And here we go. So we got a shot there real quick of Caleb Russell. Looked like he was still out in front. And getting a look at these guys as they come through the lines here. So we see these guys working their way through the track. How about this drone shot? Shout out to Ian Howes on the drone shot, working his way under the bridge. I know a lot of people out there fly drones, but boy, I got to tell you, RacerTV's own Ian Howes has got to be the best. There's Caleb Russell working his way through right now, and still a huge gap. How about this bridge that these guys are crossing? Not as gnarly as it was yesterday, but that thing has just got to be sketchy.
Absolutely. You know, that thing is just slick as ice, Mikey. It's like when you get on there, you almost can't give it any gas. The back end will just come right around and pass you up. And that's the last thing you want to do is be pointed in the wrong direction on that bridge or go swimming like we already talked about Barry Hawk a few years ago.
Yeah.
Look at this. Here comes Thad Duvall, and that gap is now... take a guess. What do you think it is?
Oh, I wasn't paying that close. It's got to be more than 24. I'm going to go 37.
23 seconds.
Ah, I'm way off. See, that's what I get.
So right
I'm
now,
so
the tail
involved.
of the tape is coming out completely dead even. No matter what Caleb Russell throws at him, Thad Duvall is able to match it 24 seconds, 23 seconds, 23 seconds, 24 seconds, and there they sit. They are just absolutely the same. It seems Caleb cannot get away, but Thad cannot close the gap. Those guys right now stuck right at that 23-second mark. They're coming across. Obviously, now they are really starting to stretch things out over the third-place ride of Trevor Bollinger, again, the hometown boy. Ricky Russell in fourth. The fifth place of Stu Baylor. And Jordan Ashburn has gotten his way around Josh Strang for that sixth-place spot. Again, this creek runs down through here, and it really does prove some challenges further down. The riders do have to cross it. Right now, they get this bridge. Here comes Trevor Bollinger, the 739 machine. And watch, he'll square it up. No gas, he knows better. And he's working his way through. Look at this drone shot. We get to kind of fly along with these guys and get a bird's eye view of exactly how it plays out. Stu Baylor, now into the fourth place spot, has gotten around Ricky Russell and is starting to close up the gap on, here's the number 1 FMF KTM of Caleb Russell. We'll get a split again He's through that corner at exactly. We'll wait and we'll see here. Thad Duvall going to continue to try and chip away at that gap. And folks, I think he's closed it up just a little bit. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 seconds. It's staying exactly the same. No matter what they do, it just doesn't change. Rodney Tomlin back in the booth with us here. Rodney, the tail of the tape. They're trying to stretch it out, but Thad just won't let him get it done.
No, he's not going to let him get it done. You know, the one thing he does have in his advantages is he does not have Thad does not have him in his sights right now, so Thad's not real sure how he's keying. He's just riding at an amazing pace right now, which is basically matching Caleb's pace. Now, I heard you and Mikey talking about the lap traffic a few moments ago. We've got 300 riders out there on the racetrack today. That's a little larger. Well, that's the largest one we've had so far in the afternoon for these motorcycle guys, and that should, I would think, make these riders find a little more lap traffic. And then when you take into consideration we're here in these mountains, passing is not the most optimal. I think that we're going to see these guys, maybe if Caleb does catch up some lap traffic, that's going to be the only way, unless he makes a mistake, that is going to be able to catch up to him, unless he's able to find a little higher level. But I think both these riders, we've seen them ride wheel to wheel. They ride at such a high level, and they ride basically at the same speeds. It's just a matter, I think Caleb got the jump on him at this point, and right now Thad can't see him, so it's going to be a waiting game to see whether or not he gets the break that he needs to get up there.
Yeah, absolutely, Rodney. Lap riders definitely will play a big factor in this one throughout the course of this 3-hour event. We did just see Trevor Bollinger come by, still in that third place spot. Stu Baylor in fourth is trying to run him down and is chipping away at it. They pulled away from Ricky Russell now in fifth. And Rodney, now when you're talking about that 300 rider afternoon race out there, that's 300 riders out there on roughly an 11-mile course. This morning, 624, I believe it was, on a slightly shorter, probably about 9.5-mile track. So you want to talk about lappers. This morning was pretty chaotic. We're actually joined here in the booth by Becca Sheets, this morning's WXC and overall winner. Actually, as we see on screen here, Ben Kelly, this is your XC2 leader. He is well up in nearing the top 5 physically in the XC1 Pro class, but he is coming from that XC2 class. He has already gotten around Lane Michael, the 523 machine. So again, physically up in about that 8th place position. But once you correct the time, and he has really pulled away from his 2 combatants in that XC2 class, Pascal Rocknicker and Josh Toth. But things were a little bit hectic out there this morning. Becca, how was it out there with things with those 600 riders on that track this morning?
Yeah, it was pretty hectic. It was pretty hectic here, especially like Rodney was saying. You know, we're on these mountains and we're kind of stuck in these valleys, so there's not very many places to pass, and you got to hope that those lappers are going to give you the way around, or just be aggressive as safely as you can to get around them.
It's tough, there's no doubt, and that's a good question. I mean, did you find that a lot today? Are the lappers, are they, I guess you could say, cordial to you whenever you come up on them?
Yeah, most of them are. Some of them want to race for a bit, but you know, most of them are courteous and get around when they can. Sometimes I'm sure we're a little more impatient than we should be, but yeah, it's all good.
Caleb Russell now making his way to the finish for the conclusion of lap number 2 now. We'll get to see what the true tail of the tape here is. We've been 22 to 24 seconds basically all lap long here on lap number 2, and Becca will talk with you in here in just a moment. There's Thad already, so we're going to get a chance to see, guys, whether or not he is within that 24 seconds now. It looks like he might be still close to that same range, so 24.568 was the official gap at the end of lap number 1. And after we go through the finish line here with Thad Duvall, we see that the gap is Caleb's on his way through the pits now and blows by the pits and looking strong out there, no doubt. 20.5 seconds, so he has gained about 4 seconds on him now, so shaved it off about 4 seconds. So it's not a lot, but whenever you start looking at these speeds, Beck, I think you can attest to the fact that that is quite a bit, really, especially when only a couple miles ago he was still 24 seconds back.
Yeah, it definitely could come into play. Also, those guys are already trying to get around lappers, so, you know, maybe Caleb got hung up a little longer than somebody. You never really know when it comes down to just a small amount of 4 seconds. But anytime you can make up on a track this crazy is good.
No doubt, and I'm sure you had your work cut out for you. Actually, had a chance to catch up with you this morning. Mikey talked to you shortly after the race, and we'll talk a little bit more about it here in just a second. But here's the way things look this morning for Becca Sheets.
Well, Becca Sheets, round 4, you finally got that elusive win.
Yeah, feels pretty good to win here. This was my first win in 2016, so I love this place, and I'm happy to get the win today.
Well, what did it take to get out in front of that pack? I think after 1, you were back in 3rd. It was real close between you, Kinsey, and Taylor Jones. What did it take to get out in front today?
Yeah, the first 2 laps, we were all 3 right together, and I actually got into the lead and went down, got back up, caught back up to him, and we kind of did that I did that a few times. I went down on the first lap, and I don't know, once we hit lappers, I just tried to push to get around, and I was able to take the lead, and we kind of all got stuck in a bottleneck in one of the fields, and I don't know, I just tried to push through the lappers. There are so many riders out there that you just had to focus forward and try not to get taken out.
There you go, everybody. Becca Sheets, your first place winner today here at Steele Creek.
Well, there you go, Becca. Congratulations to you on a phenomenal job. Now, I know you've had your ups and downs so far this year. Wasn't it South Carolina you were that close?
Yeah, I was actually able to lead the whole race in South Carolina, and it just came down to the final turns. And when Taylor and I came together, my bike had ran out of gas when it tipped over. So, yeah, it's been not too bad of a start of a season, but I was happy to put it all together today for the win.
Out near the 1.5 mile marker, Caleb Russell's already made his way through this section of the racetrack, and yeah, putting it all together. I mean, it took a couple of races to get you back up there, but here you are, and this is one of the deepest talent fields in WXC I've seen in quite some time. I mean, there's a lot of ladies out there that can win out there.
Yeah, there's definitely quite a bit of competition in our class right now, and we had a huge row of pro women this morning, and I was really pumped to see all those girls up there, and I know there was a bunch back in the B and amateur class, and yeah, competition's getting stronger and stronger, and I know there's some battles going on back behind even the top 5 girls, and I hope we can see more of it all season.
Oh, I'm sure we will. We see that growing so much. There's 3 different classes of women's out there, and there's a strong girls class coming up in the youth ranks. A lot of, I think, positives for the future. And just want to take this time to say thanks. There goes Caleb Russell now at the 2.5 mile marker, still on rails, carving his way through some of that lap traffic, as we're joined now by Jason Wygant, who does our NBC Sports Network show, and who is an avid GNCCer himself, fresh off the track.
Yeah. Had a big battle. I don't know if she knew this.
Did you race this morning?
Oh, I was out there.
I didn't even
know. We had
know.
a huge battle. I don't
You
think
and me?
Becca Sheets is aware of this.
Oh, you battled with Becca?
Oh, yeah. It lasted at least 9 seconds or so, like rodeo style, 8 seconds. It was in the... Right before we get to the finish, there's like a good section of whoops. And this was on the first lap. Like, what is the mathematical equation that would allow myself to get lapped before I even did a lap? I don't even know how that's possible. I was so demoralized. Like, I hear someone going pretty fast, so I go all the way to the right to find the no whoops line on the side. And she goes by, I'm like, Sheets, I've already been lapped. I haven't even done a lap, but I've been lapped.
Did I yell at you?
No, I was getting, luckily it was in that like wide section of the track, so I'm sure there were other people that got you super mad. Then I knew you must have had a massive lead though, because I didn't see anyone else in the class for a while. So your first lap must have been pretty good for you.
I was ahead on the first lap, but I think we were all pretty close. I mean, I guess if we lapped you, that would have been our second lap.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could have had a good
You were the
lead
only
there.
one that got me on lap 1.
His lap 1, your lap 2.
Yeah, your lap 2. Yeah, you must have had a good second lap. Good point.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun, and then eventually the rest of the WXC field came by, but it was really quite a battle, and I'm proud. I did hang on a downhill. I stayed behind Taylor all the way down. Stayed right there.
Gravity helped
She
out.
got by, and I was like, I can go down the hill as fast as she can. And we stayed pretty close for a while. But I had nothing for you in those moves.
That's something I actually learned here years ago when I first raced this track for the first time. I had been passed by another girl going way, way faster than I was going down the super steep downhills here. And that's something I always remember no matter where I'm riding on the downhills, that I can go faster than I think I can.
I think that's what I was doing,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, I'm going to keep up. Shouldn't do that.
Well, folks, as we take a look at this right now, we got some great things going on. Russell Duvall, 1 and 2. Trevor Bollinger, the hometown boy from right here in Morganton, North Carolina, the JCR Honda rider, in the number 3 spot. Ben Kelly, who is leading the XC2 250 class, is running in the number 4 spot. Stu Baylor is 5th overall after adjusted time. Jordan Ashburn in 6th. Ricky Russell at 7th. Josh Strang in 8th. Grant Baylor 9th. Josh Tote, 2nd in the XC2, rounds out your top 10 with Pascal Rachenecker right behind him. The gap in the XC2 class right now, 0.3 seconds between Toth and Rachenecker, and it looks like 40 seconds between Toth and your leader in the class, Ben Kelly.
I got a little intel on the, can you say his name properly? You have the intel on the name.
Pascal Rachenecker?
Rachenecker?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're basically, I think the strategy they told him is, look, you haven't done these 3-hour races much. Just keep those guys in sight. Don't try to pull away. Just stay with them. Let them manage the energy for you. Because he's fast. We know he's fast, but he hasn't been able to manage it right in these first couple races this year like he did in Ironman last year, no problem. So I think the strategy coming from Barry Hawk and everyone at Coastal Racing is just stay in the hunt, keep him in sight, don't burn. We got action right here on the screen. There they are. Tote just got by. No panic, no alarm. Just stay with them. So Tote just made the move, and that's the goal. Stay with these guys, and then maybe the last 2 laps or the last lap, then see how fast you can go.
There you go. And speaking of seeing, if you've been around this area, you probably see a lot of beautiful things. This is one of the most picturesque stops on the tour. In my opinion, the most beautiful stop on the GNCC Tour. I love the Steele Creek, and not only Steele Creek, but Burke County and the county seat of Morganton, North Carolina. And, of course, a lot of great things going on around here. And our own Mikey Wayne's had a chance to go out and check the area out.
Mikey Wayne's here with Caitlin Osborne. You guys know Caitlin from Saturdays, where she competes on the ATV side of things in the WXC, a top contender in the last couple of years. Well, Caitlin, we're doing something different today. We're here at the Catawba Meadows Park, which was originally known as the Hora Archaeology Site. Caitlin, tell us a little bit about it.
So in 1567, the Spanish came and established a settlement here to find an interior route to the Mexican silver mines.
The cool part about that, this was 40 years before the English settled in Virginia, establishing their first landmark there. So really historic stuff we're dealing with here out in North Carolina.
In addition to that, there are many activities here. There's a couple baseball fields, there's a huge playground, a rock climbing wall, and awesome zip lining that I'm going to check out later.
All right, I think that's enough playing for today. Let's go eat at Yanni's.
Where the friends meet at Yanni's restaurant. Mikey has made his way back from there, and I think he met a few friends from around North Carolina. Great place, great opportunity for us to be here. Our 19th running of this amazing affair here at Steele Creek, and glad to be a part of it. And of course, with this, we're watching the racing action here. Up with the live action, but we've also got a section of the racetrack that we haven't seen yet this week, and you might remember the Monster Mile from the last previous races. Well, we got some footage from lap number 1 of the Monster Mile here today as we pick up the action. This is from lap number 1, Jason Wygant. Monster Mile footage from the NBC Sports Network crew. Caleb Russell already establishing the lead here, it looks like.
Oh, that's fresh trail. That's what's cool about that section. I know I've been racing here for just about 20 years. This track is pretty beat in, man. Most of the lines are well established and whooped out and hammered, but this is cool. They got a couple fresh sections in here, this Monster Mile. Actually, I think it was leaves on the first lap.
Yeah.
Brand new stuff, so that's really cool to see and a big difference. I think for these guys, it's probably a little difficult to all of a sudden adapt. There's one section of single track here, and the rest of the track is, quad width and really whooped out. So it's pretty tough, I would think, to adapt instantly to get to that tight stuff.
Well,
and we saw those guys come too. That was Russell and Duvall waiting on third. And there's Ricky Russell on the Ampro Yamaha in third. And Bollinger all over him. Great battle for third right now.
Wow.
Baylor as well.
Yep, and we see that actually Bollinger has made his way into the number 3 spot and established himself there pretty solidly now. And, you know, this is pretty much what we saw and what we're seeing now. It's starting to change a little bit now as we go into lap number 3, but through lap 1 and lap 2, this is pretty much what we seen through the biggest part of the day today. I mean, everybody kind of established themselves early. I think it's going to take a little bit of time into this race before things really start happening.
It was a good battle. We saw Strang back there battling with Ashburn, so that was good stuff as well. Just trying to get inside that top 5 and then maybe hunt down those podium positions. Really interested to see what Bollinger today. I think we've seen Jason Raines go up that hill there. SXC3 125 riders, and Raines was up front at the end of lap 1 in that XC3 class and leading the points right now. What I think is cool when you get and we've seen this happen time and time again, not just Raines, but a lot of other riders. Older guys that come in, but if you watch Jason Raines, you look at him ride, there is nothing different. The same riding style, still in the Yamahas like he customarily rode. Everything looks the same. And we've seen that time and time again. You know, if Shane Watts comes back or Rodney Smith comes back or Fred Andrews, you see them ride and you're like, yep, the style never changes. Now, he's not going to run for the overall win here like he did 20 years ago or 15 years ago. But they look the same when they ride, and that's a really cool thing. When you have that form and you're a pro, you have it.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. And it comes from conditioning. I mean, you develop yourself into that. You become that person, and that's the way you become one with your motorcycle. And all those guys that you mentioned, they all were one with their bikes. I mean, they had a relationship physically and somewhat seemed like mentally with those motors. I mean, they mesh so well, and those styles are developed from that. And you never lose it. You're right. You never lose that kind of stuff. And speaking of never losing it, we got the 2013 class champion here with us. He's also the North Carolina State Treasurer. Dale Falwell is joining us here in the booth. And Dale, have you lost it yet, man? You were a champion back in 2013. You still pretty hot right now?
So we'll see next year maybe when I come out. As long as Dick Burleson keeps getting older, I think I'll be competitive.
You know, he may be getting older, but I don't think he's slowed down one tick yet. That's crazy how fast that guy is.
I don't know if he is getting older. Yeah, I'm questioning it. Yeah,
I think he found the fountain of youth out there.
That's right.
Well, Del, you're an avid GNCC racer. We know that. You won a championship. Now, were you state treasurer back then, or was that pre-state treasurer, Dave?
That was pre-state treasurer. I was in the General Assembly back then and Assistant Secretary of Commerce, and I was sworn in as state treasurer last year.
Wow. And that's something, you know, we didn't even really realize probably that you were someone whenever you were racing before. We never even knew that you were someone in the state of North Carolina. And we've got a good friend in government, and I think that's great. Now, just curious, whenever you tell your friends back at the office, hey, I'm going down to Morganton this week to a GNCC, to an off-road motorcycle race, what kind of responses do you get from your fellow constituents there?
Well, they can't believe that you can pack, you know, thousands of people into Steele Creek Campground, so let's start there. And that's a great tribute to the GNCC Nation and how you organize this event, but also local law enforcement. You know, they've got the entrance and exit to this down pat so that all the other great tourists can figure out what's going on in in this neck of the woods. But it's a great tribute to all the people that put on this event. It's a great for North Carolina, and you know, motorcycle racing is you can't really describe it to anyone. They can see it on TV. They can actually come out here and watch it, but the physicality of what this is like for just 10 minutes, much less 3 hours, and the thousands of calories that are being burned by these riders in that time, it is the most demanding sport in the world.
I have to tend to agree. Jason Wygant, fresh off the course, probably feels...
I'm hungry. I'm definitely hungry. I burned some calories. No doubt about that. Yeah.
What's good and going on in the state of North Carolina right now?
Well, we're just trying to do what these riders are trying to do, and that is lead. We've got some great things going on in our state. Our state is very financially sound, and that's the reason that we're growing so rapidly in North Carolina. We've got some of the lowest tax rates in the country now. We've got one of the best rainy day funds in the country, one of the best unemployment trust funds in the country, and
you know, your listeners may be asking, what does that have to do with motorcycling? Well, any time that you can preserve your money so that in downtimes you have money to survive is very important. And, you know, most of what I learned and what I use every day as state treasurer of North Carolina, I actually learned through my years of almost 50 years of motorcycling. You know,
wow.
You learn about leverage, you learn about speed, you learn about shooting the gaps, you learn about having clarity of thought and having things in the right sequence, and that's what you're seeing on the track today. These riders are not looking where they just rode, they're looking 2 or 3 turns down the road, and that's what you have to do as state treasurer. We have the North Carolina, I'm responsible for the 26th largest pool of public money in the world.
Wow, I hate to say it like this, but a GNCC-style approach to governing the state finances. I mean, and I get it. I agree with you. That's the best way to do it, and foresight like that, looking ahead like what you're talking about. That's great, and I think that's going to lead North Carolina into the greater places. Like you said, low tax rates, you're already leading the nation as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's very important, and it's also important to the thousands of people that are at Steele Creek Campground today that just remember we're all standing on the shoulders of someone. All these riders are standing on the shoulders of their supporters and their family and their friends who are out here. And as we paid tribute earlier before the start of the pro race, to remember all those that have who are not with us here today, and especially Dale Cook, who was a great North Carolinian. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of his death, and it's always good to remember Cookie.
Yeah, it's well, Dell, it's good to have someone like you with the mindset that you've got in government. And I say that, I guess, I'm kind of partial to you because you're a GNCCer, but you're also a good person. And I just want to thank you for being a part of the GNCC Racing Nation and helping lead North Carolina, man. And hopefully we'll see even bigger and greater things in the future from y'all.
Thanks for what you do for our state.
All righty. That's Dell Falwell there, state treasurer here in the state of North Carolina. And speaking of the Carolinas, man, I tell you, we are hot, we are strong, and we are living large here in the Carolina region. Not only North Carolina, but South Carolina. We'll be heading to South Carolina in a couple of weeks. We'll see whether or not Caleb Russell and Thad Duvall and maybe even Trevor Bollinger and the boys can battle it out like they are here, maybe even tighter at Camp Coker. But don't forget, that's coming up. But some other cool things going to be taking place. A new band, a hot new band going to be coming. We want you to come check it out. Check out this little piece we got to invite you to
Monster
Camp Coker.
Energy proudly presents the new Black 7 at the Camp Coker GNCC in Society Hill, South Carolina, Saturday, April 21st at 9 p.m.
High life, low life, every other walk of life, living here in this town.
Admission to the concert included with your gate admission. Adults $20, kids 6 to 11 $10, and 5 and under get in free. Come watch the fastest off-road racers in the world battle at Morey Sportsman Preserve and rock out to the new Black 7. See you at the races Saturday, April 21st, and stick around for the new Black 7 at 9 p.m.
And there you go, folks. There is the bridge shot. That is Caleb Russell as we pick him up. And the new Black 7 going to be with us in a couple of weeks at Camp Coker. Come join us. Monster Energy, a big part of that weekend this weekend. So glad to have them on board. And hopefully we'll have you on board and there with us as well. Now, taking a look at this bridge as we take a look at it, if you were watching yesterday, it was a lot slicker. It was wetter. Obviously, the conditions warranted that. It's a little drier today. I heard Jared Bolton talking about to be careful on that bridge. It was going to be slick, but it's slick, but nothing like what we saw yesterday when it was raining for the ATV. So good conditions, track conditions. I mean, they were not bad at all yesterday at all, but they are beautiful here today. I mean, probably about as close to perfect as you can possibly even get. And Caleb Russell still out front. Thad Duvall still running in the number 2 spot. Bollinger, Ben Kelly, and Stu Baylor. Now, Kelly, again, is on time adjustment up to that 4th place position. So we see Stu Baylor actually in that spot physically, 5th on the racetrack. So as the race progresses, we'll see whether or not Stu is able to regain that time that he lost out there. And what happens, generally we've seen it in the past, and under most circumstances, we'll see these XC2 riders kind of far up in the overall standings the first couple of laps, and as time wears on, they kind of settle into position and a little further back in the top 10, sometimes outside the top 10. But we'll keep an eye on this one sometimes, and it has been known to happen. Those XC2 guys are able to take wins. There's Caleb Russell now. And this was that Duval that close behind him now? So if that's the case, things are really starting to tighten up there. That went from a 24-second lead down to a 20-second lead. And I'm going to say somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 seconds or so that we saw coming through this section of the track as we are now approaching about an hour and 9 minutes into the race. Lots of things going on so far, but the one thing that we haven't seen a whole lot of is changes up front. We have seen Trevor Bollinger move into the number 3 position, and we have seen Thad Duval try to clip away at the lead that Caleb Russell is enjoying right now, so we'll be watching and waiting to see what takes place there for that. Still trying to keep an eye out here. We saw some of these guys coming through pretty close there a few moments ago, so now it's just a matter of a waiting game to catch them at our next shot and see if any changes have taken place. Caleb will be coming through the pits here before long, and so the reason I say that is because next time around, after the next lap is complete, they go through the finish line and then they immediately go to the pits. And from what I understand, I believe that Caleb Russell is actually going to be pitting. And we'll see if we can't get Mikey Waynes down in that neck of the woods to possibly give us the blow-by-blow on what's going on there. I can imagine it's only going to be a routine stop, a quick gas and go, basically. They'll maybe put some some new goggles on him, and then they will maybe give him something to drink. Past that.
Hey, Rodney, if I could, I'll jump in there. I can confirm, I believe these guys are all going to be hitting this lap. Talking to the guys at Rockstar Husqvarna, as well as the KTM Red Bull, or the Red Bull KTM pits. Sounds like everything's running smooth, so I think you're dead on, man. Sounds like fuel, goggles, and get back out there riding.
Yeah, they will be very quick pit stops. Thanks for that update, Mikey Waynes, down in the VP Fuels Pro row. And with that, you know, not only is Caleb going to be pitting, but it sounds like the whole field is going to be pitting. And we see it every once in a while, pitting strategies coming into play, and you almost would have to think, and I guess maybe it might not be a bad idea to go ahead and pit, because it seems like so far consistently Thad Duval has been chipping away at the lead that Caleb Russell does have. So it doesn't maybe make sense at this particular juncture in the race to maybe chance it and go an extra lap before pitting. In case he would happen to run out of fuel, even making any ground or even a pass, if he would run out of fuel, would not be worth that in the end. So the team is running conservatively today, not taking any unnecessary risk or toss of the dice. But, hey, that could change. That thought could change if they see his gas mileage is better than what they realize. They have an idea, okay, 3 laps in, that's about the halfway point. We're going to gas. But if we take a look at this, that could be a little early in the grand scheme of things. I'm not sure how much longer it's going to be before these guys are going to be in the actual finish line region in the pro pits itself. As soon as I get that information, I'll be able to pass it along to you. But anyway, right now there's Ricky Russell making his way through on camera shot. And there is Caleb Russell. He's out front. Now we're down near the finish line as we head into the Amsoil chicanes. This will be for lap number 3 complete. And look at this. Thad Duval is on the rear wheel of Caleb Russell. The battle is starting to thicken now. I was starting to wonder about this. I seen these guys. I didn't realize Thad had gotten that close. I knew he was within 10 seconds, but he is within 2 seconds now as they make their way into the Amsoil chicanes there. Jason Wygant rejoining us in the booth now. Now, last time we saw the first lap, it was 24 seconds, and then at the end of that second lap, they had brought it down to 20 seconds. Last time, we're getting ready to go to the pits right now, but the last time they came through, we saw them, they were about less than 10 seconds, and now Thad Duval's right there. Wow.
Caleb looks frustrated right there. He's not happy about something, and they're both pitting together. It's awesome, the drone shot, and look at this. That's a change-up for the lead.
Wow.
Thad Duval's taking the lead in the pits, and Caleb You could tell he was not happy the way he was gesturing, and now you know why. He's been pushed back to second.
Well, I'll tell you, man, Caleb, talking to Caleb earlier today in the pre-race interview, he was telling me how, he's been in control of this. Even when he's been in 5th place, he's been right where he wants to be. He's been in control and right where he wants to be. Right now, this could be the first time this year he's not where he wants to be at this juncture in the race.
If you look at the results right now, we know he's won the first 3 races coming in, and that would appear on paper like it's been a dominant season, but these have been tough races on Caleb this year. Florida really had to work. South Carolina opener really had to work. So they have definitely made him work for it, but yes, once he got that start today and had that early lead, I really thought that it might be a little easier on Caleb today than it was getting those first 3 wins, but absolutely not. Thad Duval has flipped that script. He's caught him. He's passed him. And now he's going to try to get away. So it really doesn't matter practically at this point what happens to Thad and Caleb. They're going to find each other at some point in the race. Good starts, bad starts, together, not together. Doesn't matter. We see Bollinger rolling through right now. And we'll see if we can catch up with our leaders right now. So it's Duval and that Rockstar Husqvarna trying to make it happen. And Bollinger has been riding very, very well this year. He's been flirting with those podiums, been a couple of 4th-place finishes, and a big improvement from where he was as an XC1 rookie last year. You see, that's the Johnny Campbell Racing Honda crew right there. But what I think the lesson that he's learning is that last step to stay with these two when they are on their horse. That is difficult. Here's Bollinger right now, gassing up, riding very well today. We see our leaders, Thad and Caleb Russell right behind him at the 1.5-mile mark.
Wow.
So that gives you an idea how big a gap they built up. And Bollinger's riding well.
Monument. Yeah, Bollinger is on a level of his own right now.
Yep.
I mean, you can't take anything away from what he's doing and what he's achieved so far. But wow.
Yeah.
Now, and think about this. Caleb Russell was already out front and had that established. Think about the part that Thad Duval closed that gap. And I thought, hey, they can't go any faster. If you remember earlier, I was saying they're both going as fast as they can go. They're going the exact same speed. Nobody's gaining, nobody's losing. Guess what? Egg on my face. And kudos to Thad Duval for proving me wrong, man.
Racing's a weird thing, right?
Yeah.
You probably have your pace, but when the other guy's 10 seconds ahead, your pace changes real quick. And that's what happened with Thad. Watching some riders come through these field sections here. And we've seen some great finishes using those fields here in Steele Creek before, where riders can make some passes. Now we're at the 2.5-mile mark, they're telling us. So we'll keep tabs on Thad.
Tabs
right
on
there.
Thad.
Yeah, we'll keep the tabs on Thad. So could this be the day of the breakthrough? That should be Strang, I would think, in the pits. Yeah, that's Josh Strang right there.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to Josh Strang earlier today. It's the first time I've actually talked to him, I think since the first round. He was talking, and it was pretty cool. He's not real satisfied with the way things are going. He says, a top...
There they are. Wheel to wheel, as we would say. Thad Duval, Caleb Russell, lap riders between them. I just love watching these guys. It's full moto how they charge these corners wide open through this stuff.
Railing it out
there.
That's
Ben Kelly in the XC2 pit right now. Got him gassed and go. Couple of intriguing storylines in XC2. We know we got Totes with the bad hand. Hasn't ridden apparently until today.
No. He had. He said he got on the bike for just a couple of minutes just to see, I think, basically if he could hold on to it, to ride it around the yard or whatever. And yeah, he's back the first time that he's ridden since the injury. So we'll see how well he's able to hang on. I'm hoping that the time off has really helped out. The problem is, he says he had a ligament that actually got pulled away from the bone in one of his fingers or something like that, and that's got to be pretty tender, I would have to think.
Yeah, this track is super rough, man. One of the roughest. So that's going to be a tough one to fight through that injury. So you got Kelly trying to take advantage. We're going to see Bollinger here, by the way, in just a moment. And an XC2. So you got Ben Kelly trying to capitalize on all this, try to extend that points lead. But Rauschenecker has been learning each race. Could that be the breakthrough? Could we have 3 different winners in XC2 early this season if he can get it done?
And there's Mikey down in the Red Bull pits.
Hey, guys, quick update for you. Ben Kelly came into the pits, nearly missed his pit stop. Josh Toth did miss his pit stop, blew right by it. So is that going to play a factor? Is he going to have enough fuel to get around for another lap? Probably, but is it going to play a factor? Strategy, but he did miss his pit. In addition to that, had a chance to catch up with the folks over at Rockstar Husqvarna. And I said, man, Thad, close the gap. What did he do to close that gap? They said quite simply, he came in, said, I don't know, but this is gnarly. So we got us a good track out there today.
Gnarly seems to be the word.
Yeah.
And when they say gnarly, it's like bad. It can mean good, it can mean bad, it can mean extra good, and I think gnarly means he's having some fun right now.
Yeah, but it's going to be a real fitness test for these two. Have really upped their game from that perspective. And the pace they're running on tracks that are this rough, man, it's going to come down to endurance at the end. We'll see if that can hold on to it. So really intriguing, all the different storylines there. We'll see if Toad can hold on. Can he even get one more lap in before he runs out of gas?
I don't know, and if you look at the time on the clock, I think we're just past about 1 hour and 15, 20 minutes or something like that. And if we go the full 3 hours, you start doing the math, unless they're doing a 2 pit stop race, and it wouldn't, I guess it wouldn't really matter. Go an extra lap now or go the extra lap later. I'm not real sure. But I know that right now we got some cool things going on the track. And what I think is really great is that Trevor Bollinger's in the 3rd place position right now, because this is where we were introduced to Trevor Bollinger. And this is where we got a chance to know when this kid came through the 4-stroke A lights class and won that overall amateur. Amazing. We never realized that he would become the star that he has become of GNCC racing. And speaking of which, with stardom comes some pretty cool stuff, and you get some pretty cool rigs and stuff like that. Well, GNCC and GNCC Rigs went and took a tour with Trevor Bollinger.
I'm Trevor Bollinger, and this is a JCR rig. This is just where we hang out and do the food, and looks like they got some drink bottles and the radio's charging, but it's pretty basic, but it works for us. Now we're going over to the box fan where all the parts are. So yeah, this is where Eric keeps all the parts. There's probably enough parts in here to build a few bikes, but yeah. It's not very big, but it does for us. So this is my race bike. It's pretty normal this weekend for the conditions. Like you guys pointed out, we got the foot peg covers that keeps the pegs down when you go through deep ruts, and Eric's putting on some grip tape right now. I like that just to keep you on the bike a little better. And we got an oversized tank and just other than that, it's pretty basic stuff. I think it's going to be pretty good conditions for tomorrow, so looking forward to it. And this is the JCR rig. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
And that's pretty nice. Nice little, what's really cool, he kind of gave us an in-depth view, I think, of that new Honda machine, man, that they've been kind of for desert and off-road racing. It's really neat to see that Honda has recognized this genre of the sport of racing,
Yeah, and it's really a type of bike that only KTM have been offering for a long time. Off-road bike, but a closed course competition off-road bike. The exhaust system, the noise, the power is just like a motocross bike. Whereas traditionally the Japanese brands that always their off-road bikes, they make them very quiet. They change the motors for extreme reliability, like ridiculous things like can you run it for 40 hours without oil in it? All kinds of things like that to make the bike really reliable for the average dude who's just trail riding, but it didn't make the bikes competitive for this level of racing. So now we've seen both Yamaha and Honda coming out with those types of bikes. It's basically their motocross bike with just a few changes. Little suspension changes, gas tank and kickstand, but the engine, the chassis, it's capable right out of the box. I don't want to call it ready to race because the other brand already has that that tag, but it's the same theory. And it's cool that Yamaha has it with a 254-stroke and 2-stroke. Honda has it with a 450. You've got to imagine some of the other brands are looking at this. It's such a huge market now.
Oh, yeah.
So they're race bikes, but they're off-road race bikes. They're not quite motocross, but they're not the old-school trail riding beast either.
Right. You got some 1,800, nearly 2,000 entries again here this weekend. So, I mean, when you start to see numbers like that, you know that there's a market out there for it for sure. And, some other folks that's got some things cornered in the market. Talk about, we got a really good sponsor here with us in Rocky Mountain, ATVMC.com. And they always say, get ready. And rightfully so, man. I mean, they got 2 locations. They can get stuff to you fast. They got great customer service. If you got a problem, they can get it turned around and back to you. I mean, literally within a day or 2, you can have your stuff to you. And Rocky Mountain is also stepped up a few years ago and gave us the fast the fast track to rider registration, which is pre-registration, and they've been given $20 to apply towards your racegrass credits the last few years. And basically, when you pre-register, you accumulate money to Rocky Mountain ATVMC to purchase race gas. And actually, we got the folks from Rocky Mountain to tell us a little bit more about that.
Are you ready to go? GNCC Racing!
Hello everyone, I am Chase at Rocky Mountain ATVMC. Now as riders ourselves here at Rocky Mountain, we are proud to support and sponsor the GNCC Racing Series. Now one program that we've always been known for is our Race Gas program, where every rider who pre-registers for a GNCC race receives a $20 gift card to Rocky Mountain ATVMC. And now for 2018, we've made it even better with our all-new digital delivery. Now, after pre-registering and being put on the fast track, instead of waiting for your gift card to arrive via mail, your $20 in race gas credit will be delivered directly to your Rocky Mountain ATVMC account in 1 to 3 weeks, which is just enough time for us to receive your pre-registration information and process it. You will also be notified via email when your race gas cash has arrived, and also what event you received it for and the expiration date of that credit. Now, if you don't already have a Rocky Mountain account, no problem. You'll be able to create one through the email that Rocky Mountain sends you. This new program will make it faster and easier for you to use your race gas cash, whether it's an online order or if you're calling in and ordering by phone. So don't wait. Get pre-registered today for an awesome experience at your next GNCC race and earn that free race gas cash. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Lots of action here at the racetrack, and thanks to Rocky Mountain ATV helping keep the gas going on that. And speaking of action, Mikey Waynes knows more about what's going on. What's happening, Mikey?
Hey, Rodney, down here with Eric with Johnny Campbell Racing. Trevor Bollinger off to a great start. There's a bit of a gap, or a pretty good-sized gap, rather, between him and second. But can he hang on, man? Can he get a podium in the hometown?
Oh, you know he's going to give everything he's got. I think he can, and I know he's going to just push as hard as he can. Stu's coming up hard. He's got about 30 seconds on him right now. We're just going to kind of monitor that gap and just let him know any chance we get to keep him pushing forward.
There we go, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Mikey. And honestly, Jason, you think about that, man. Trevor's in a great position, but at the same time, he's in a rough position. You got Stu Baylor coming up behind you right now, and Stu is not where he wants to be right now. We always know that Stu's good at charging when he's not where he wants to be. He's in Carolina. He's feeling exceptionally strong here this weekend, and I have to wonder, is he going to put the push on? And no matter how strong he's feeling, will Trevor be able to utilize this hometown feeling that he's got going on, the hometown high, so to speak? Yeah. Will he be able to keep him at bay if he is able to catch up to him?
I think one of the toughest things is he's all alone right now, so he doesn't have he can't key off of anyone in front of him. Duval and Russell have built up that big of a gap. But meanwhile, you know that Baylor's keying off of him. Baylor's putting the hammer down, probably seeing that gap, and that's motivator for him. If you're Bollinger, you're kind of all alone in no man's land, and that's a tough place to be, to just keep pushing and kind of know exactly where the pace needs to be. As we watch,
well, you almost have
to. Rain's coming through, I think, right now.
I think he's leading the FMF XC3 class, if I'm not mistaken. But you almost have to think that we have some. All right, got a quick announcement to make here. I have got a young child. His name is Xander. He's got black shirt, pants, and a jacket. He's also got camo shoes. He's about 6 years old. His name is Xander. If you happen to know the whereabouts, bring him to registration. Help him find his way to registration. Once again, little fella by the name of Xander. He's got a black shirt, pants, and jacket on. His camo shoes. He's about 6 years old, and he's probably either in heaven right now having fun because there's nobody telling him what to do, or he's freaked out, scared to death because he don't know where mom and dad is. So help him find his way over here to rider registration. We appreciate that.
Yeah, that's the truth. He's probably watching racing thinking, this is awesome. It's cool. I'll climb up one of these mountains.
He's probably in a tree someplace.
Yeah, loving it. Yeah, or playing in the mud.
But
and did I not hear, by the way, did I not hear 10-man push when they were preparing the start for the...
You didn't?
No, I did. I did hear it. Did I not hear it?
Yes,
I did hear it.
Yes.
Unbelievable. I couldn't believe playing in the dirt,
Oh, yeah.
was back.
Yeah,
yeah.
I hadn't used it for a couple of years, and I brought it out. I dusted it off and started playing in the dirt again every once in a while.
I just pulled in. I was tired. I was hungry. I was beat to death. And then all of a sudden, I was like, no, it can't be. And I was like Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania. I got the adrenaline started flowing when I started hearing the song written about GNCC racing. You know what, Rodney? That's what GNCC racing
is all about. It really, really is.
It's good.
It is.
Okay, so we know it's Duval and Russell still battling.
Right.
That's a really cool story
and I was,
for us,
and I was something I was going to expand on there a moment ago. We were talking about Trevor Bollinger. You know, you were talking about being by himself and not knowing what to key on and how to push and this and that. But you almost have to wonder, too, being at home and this close. I mean, everybody in Burke County darn near is here this weekend. So you almost have to think he's going to have that inspiration of those people just cheering for him as he's going around. That might be the extra edge he's going to need today to do this.
You bet if he gets into a battle with Baylor for third, they're going to replace there. I mean, I imagine he can step it up.
Yeah.
But it's a question of how long goes by before he realizes that Baylor's going to be there to challenge him. But, yeah, this place is easy to figure out for the fans with that creek.
Yeah.
And going under the bridge, the fans know exactly where to go. A couple of the hill climbs, they know exactly where to go. They know who they're looking for. They know who they're cheering for. So that's going to be an awesome scene if Baylor gets there. Now, if you're Bollinger, you'd probably prefer to go low drama and just cruise to that third place and not have a challenge. But we have a feeling that challenge is coming. Fans are probably going to respond. And, yeah, then the question is how much can that help him?
I think it'll give him an edge. But, you know, Stu's got a little bit of an edge here, too. Even though he's from South Carolina, he still has a lot of favored, fan favorites that favor him here in North Carolina. So I think that, I mean, even him coming in here, he brought the mullet, missing tooth. I don't know if you saw that. He chipped the tooth eating chicken wings, the one that he knocked out.
It's injured again.
Yeah,
he re-injured it.
He re-injured it. He had the caps on the teeth from getting them knocked out in South Carolina at
Big Buck.
Big Buck.
Yeah.
And then he was eating chicken wings, and he said, here's what he said. He said, I was supposed to get my new teeth this past Wednesday. He said, I'm rocking the mullet. He said, I'm missing the tooth.
See Caleb Russell coming by.
I got to do it.
PowerPoint. So he had the chicken wings and broke the teeth.
He broke the tooth. So, and he said, and he kept the broken tooth this week. He could have got it fixed, but he says it just all goes together too well not to be running it like that.
Oh, man, he wore the hat with the mullet there for your opening ceremonies instead of donning the helmet. Just let that mullet fly. Let everybody see the teeth. Yeah, Stu's a character, no doubt about it. Glad to see him coming into his own here in the XC1 rank last year and this year, really stepping up the game after a couple of rough seasons with that wrist injury waiting to come around. It certainly has, and he's going to challenge Bollinger for third. There is Steele Creek.
Yes, beautiful.
Steele Creek itself, it's by far, we like to say, this is the picturesque race. Now, it's a nasty one to actually ride. This track is super rough, but it looks nice. But I've raced a couple of these in the Southeast now. I can tell you, this is a pretty big technical challenge. I think what makes it tough on the guys, it's really the first race of the year where we have the elevation change in mass. And until you actually get back into that swing, into that groove, it's a lot different. It's not like Florida isn't a physical test. Thad coming across the bridge, Caleb right behind him. And from here, this side of the track is a little more open, little less ups and downs, and a little more moto. It's just kind of whooped out because they're down by the river, so it's pretty sandy. So these guys are going to absolutely hammer. The track is pretty wide. You can pick any line you want. So it's going to be wide open through here.
Well, here we are. You know, you have to wonder at this point, is Caleb riding, has he got to where he wants to be and he's just going to try to manage the race right now, you think? Or is he going to try to get back around him and try to stretch it out? Do you think that maybe he realizes that Thad chased him down and maybe he can't gap him the way that he wants to, so he's going to wait till later in the race and maybe try to capitalize and force mistakes, I guess you could say?
Yeah, I think it's going to be that, because how many times have we seen these two stick with each other for hours? They don't seem to be able to break away, no matter how hard they try. So I would not be surprised, and it just seems like Caleb's able to always do something at the end of the race right, and it all breaks for him properly, and he ends up taking a clutch victory, and then Thad's bummed saying, man, I did everything right, everything was rolling my way, and then something went wrong late.
Well, how about this place, though? I mean, this has been the hype for a lot of years. This place has been great to Thad Duvall, and it has been bad to him all at the same time. I mean, we've seen some.
Flying the drone under the bridge. This
Yeah.
is some highly skilled piloting here.
Thad, some of the best racing he's ever done has been right here, and it ended with him being hauled out in a helicopter or hauled out in a squad or something like that. I mean, and it's happened a couple of different times. I mean, he's been out front chasing the leaders or in the lead or something like that, and this place has always been him. He's never got the redemption from this place that he's been looking for. Maybe it's going to happen this year.
And, yeah, I think Caleb's just stalking him. I think you can just settle in, folks, and watch this on RacerTV.com. You're going to see a mano-a-mano big battle between these two all the way to the finish. I don't think they're going to spread apart much at all. And, yeah, you did mention that where Thad has had some big crashes here. I think that's the really encouraging part of this championship. I know that Caleb won the first 3, but Thad hasn't had any bad races. Points-wise, he's right in the hunt. If he gets that win today, he's right there in the thick of it, where normally you see Thad have that one race like he did at the opener last year. We had the brake problems, and it just set him way back in points instantly. Bollinger just came through, going under the bridge, solid in third. But I'm encouraged with Thad this year. He's been consistent. He hasn't had the bad race, hasn't had the big crash. If he get that victory today, you know he's in this championship for the long haul.
Once again, we got a lost young man, Xander. He had black shirt, shorts, and shoes on. Camo shoes, I believe, is what he had. He's about 6 years old. If you happen to see a little fellow out there that meets this description, please bring him or see if it's him and bring him over to rider registration. We appreciate that. Mom and Dad are frantically looking right now. Again, he's probably just watching the races someplace. We've heard this story so many times, but I know being in Mom and Dad's shoes is not a good place. So let's help Mom and Dad out, and let's get Xander back over there to him as quick as we can.
Yeah, if you're listening to us right now, just have a look around. He might be 10 feet away, 15 feet away, just hanging out.
Yeah, exactly.
And some of those big crowds, I mean, man, they were packed in deep at the start of this one. I'm saying 10 or 15 rows deep there in the first couple of corners. And then people hanging out in the woods. Well, you asked the people if they were ready to go GNCC racing, and it was loud.
The first one, normally they're kind of low-key on the first one. They about blew me out of the water the first time. And then, man, that second one, wow. North Carolina was ready for the Steele Creek GNCC.
Yeah, and think about it. There's our man, Degar, shooting photos. Yeah.
What's up?
Derek Garcia.
Hey, ladies.
39 different jobs he's capable of doing. One of the widest ranges of talents. Hey, just picks up a camera. I'm also an awesome photographer, by the way. I don't know how many jobs he can do. We could probably put him on a sweep crew. I know he can lift bikes up, no problem. He could probably pick up one bike in each hand if you get into one of those mud holes.
He makes Scott Summers jealous, wouldn't he?
Yeah, pick up the XR600.
I'm just kidding, Scott. I don't think that Derek could do that, man. Scott Summers is a man.
Specialty.
Yeah.
Specialty. Trying to check who it
Hey,
is.
look
Oh,
at-
Degar's back. Degar's back.
Stop, he said.
Cut it out, guys. Cut it out.
Stop it.
I don't know if that was Bollinger just went up that hill or not. The next thing we want to keep tabs on is if Baylor is able to close the gap on Bollinger and make that a race for third.
Yeah, as soon as I can get my scoring situated here, Dan, we'll get you updated on that kind of stuff, and things are looking good here. I mean, there's been some changes, and we're going to go through this. I'm going to run through the race results.
There's Baylor. Okay.
That's
So
a
I'd
big
say
gap.
that was still probably 20, 25 seconds that Bollinger had on him.
Oh, at least, yes.
So that's a pretty good one that Baylor's going to really have to dig to make it up. And Baylor's pretty much been a podium guy at every race so far this year. So is that going to come to an end?
I don't know. I tell you, and right outside the podium all season long, it seems like it's been Trevor Bollinger, you know, and he's really disappointed.
Knocking on that door. Here is your battle for the lead. It's Steele Duval over Russell. I'm talking wheel to wheel.
Where's Bjorn when you need him, right? Look at this. They were like this a lap ago, only it was the other way around. They pitted. Thad was able to get out of the pits a little quicker, and basically Caleb has shadowed Thaddeus since that point. And here we are now wrapping up lap, I believe that's 3 if I'm not mistaken, heading into lap number 4. Wow, these laps really seem to be clicking off pretty quick for an 11-mile racetrack especially. I mean, there must be some more open sections out there than what we realized.
Oh, Ryder goes down right in front of them. Woo! Almost caught Duval, almost caught Russell. They both were able to get around it. Now the drag race through the pro pit. Oh, this is so good to have the drone. We can follow them all the way through here, 1 and 2. duking it out.
You know, I find myself getting entranced by this, Jason, and just watching these shots like this. Amazing racing, and you get such a bird's eye view, literally a bird's eye view of what this racing is about. And I don't think you can ask for a better seat in the house than what we're staring at right now on RacerTV.com. If you folks are around here and don't know what we're talking about, make sure you tune into the archives on RacerTV.com and through live stream, and you can probably pick it up on Facebook as well. So we welcome all the Facebook watchers to RacerTV with us right now. And it's still Thad Duvall leading Caleb Russell. If you're just joining us early on, we saw Kevin Benoit actually take the whole shot out there, the Canadian, and then Caleb was right behind him. It wasn't long. Caleb was out front, and we established where we are right now. They established about 20 seconds in between first and second, third and fourth, all the way back to about fifth or sixth place position. Then it started to get a little tighter. Since then, we've seen Thad Duvall close the gap on Caleb Russell, make the pass. There's a big gap back to the number 3 spot. We see that Trevor Bollinger is still there, but he's got a hard-charging 514 and Stu Baylor. Baylor trying to close that gap, and we still haven't figured out whether or not he's able to do it, but we're going to know here real soon.
So that battle between those two up front, man, we've seen it time and time again, last year and now this year. So fun to watch, and we'll never know exactly what the strategy is. Are they running all out and they just happen to go the same speed? Are they keying off each other, as they say? Here they are again. Duvall over Russell, gap staying about the same, about 3 or 4 bike lengths. Motoing up these sections. Look at that bike lean all the way over, all the way up that right-hander. And that is slick, man. You see those shiny spots as we check in with Bollinger in third. Those shiny spots are part where it's hard to get traction, and they're still leaning the bike way over on those turns. Pushing it hard. Bollinger is not hustling through this section right now. I think he's taking a breather trying to figure out where it is. Could this be the opportunity for Stu Baylor to close the gap? We'll try to keep it here and see how much further back the Tele Energy Racing rider is. But right now, Bollinger right where he wants to be. Been working hard to put that Honda on the podium. Today could be the day.
Wow, that'd be great. I mean, what better place to do it than right here where it all began, right? To get that first podium, and then, you know, that was his first win in GNCC, and look where he's come to then. If he gets his first podium in GNCC here in Morganton, North Carolina, where's it going to be next year whenever we come here, or 2 years from now when we come? What kind of great accomplishments is he going to have made by then?
Yeah, because we've seen riders make that leap like he had to out of XC2, or back in the day we had, you know, the 250A class. And that's a really hard leap to make, to jump into XC1 and be competitive. And then your confidence starts to take a hit. Last year was an okay season for him. But what you often see, Rodney, and it's so weird, right? When they're the XC2 champion, they're often finishing further up in the overall than where they are when they switch to the big bikes on the front row. And that's, I think, the difference in their confidence. They come into the races, we catch the leaders again, shadowing each other, Duvall and Russell. So I think they move to the XC1 class. They take a confidence hit. Now they're not winning their class anymore. Now they're not the fastest guy. And it's hard to dig yourself out of that. Bollinger's definitely done it this year. He's stepped up the game. He's a lot better than he was in his rookie season in the big class.
Well, and oftentimes these guys set themselves up for failure right from the get-go because they say, because they, especially on the ATV side of things, they respect those guys that are running in the top 5 so much that they say, I just want to be able to run close to the top 5. You know, if I can run close to the top 5. Until you hear them say, I'm ready to hit podiums, I'm ready to win, you're not going to see any real advancements out of them.
Well, you mentioned that ATV group. How long have we been waiting for one of those young guys? Finally, Bryson Neal got it done. We were waiting and waiting for one of them to finally win one of those races. And he got it done, and you know that that's going to open the floodgates.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yep. It's like I told Chris Borch in an interview I did with him on Quad Radio, I said, the best thing that could have happened that day happened because Chris knows how to win. Bryson doesn't know how to win yet. He got his first win. He's learning how to win. Yeah. Now this is going to be good. Chris has got more wins under his belt, I think, to come in the future. But regardless, look at right here on the screen. We're back into the pits. Josh Toth is in the pits. No, this has been Kelly. Ben Kelly in the pits now.
Now, remember, we're still wondering if Toth is going to make it around. He missed the pit the last time, and we're just wondering if he's going to run out of gas. I am embarrassed to say that I ride basically the same.
Well, he has. Yeah. He made it in. He was 13.9 seconds behind Ben Kelly.
Hey guys, that was Josh Toth.
No, that was Toth
right there.
Okay,
yeah,
so he made it.
So Josh Toth did make it in, so he was 13 seconds, 14 seconds behind Ben Kelly, so that gap's going to open up a little bit more now. So Ben Kelly pitted the lap before. Josh Toth does this time, and here we are. Looks like I believe we're going to have a 7-lap race. So as we take a look at the standings right now, after 4 laps of racing complete. Great, we found the kid. Thank you very much. Thad Duvall leading 1.1 seconds is what it said. We know it's closer than that. Caleb Russell in second. Trevor Bollinger 2 minutes and 38 seconds. That is the gap back to the number 3 position. Now the gap back to Bollinger, from Bollinger to Stuart Baylor, we were talking in that 20-some second range. Actually, when they came through the finish line, just over 33 seconds as we continue to watch our leaders make their way through here now. And watch the timing and scoring boards as well. There's the 3. Was that the 3:14 or the 5:14? That was one of the Baylor boys that went through.
I think that was Stu still trying to chase.
Okay, that might have been Lane had gotten around him, because Grant was ahead of.
And that's Kelly, right? That's Kelly on the 5:30 that just came up. So now we've got a little mix of XC2 getting in the fight, and he's doing it exactly the way they scripted it. They told Pascal Roschenecker, just stay with them, stay with them, stay with them. And what's the gap? Basically, we're not at the finish line now, but what was the gap when they came through in XC2? I think he's just stalking Ben Kelly.
Well, honestly, you might think that. The gap says officially 50. Well, let me double check this. Roschenecker is time behind, 52.6 seconds.
Wow, that wasn't that. It was a lot closer than that when they just came through our shot here, and then I think that was Toth that just came through as well.
Yeah.
So he's staying in the hunt.
Yeah.
And we'll see. So maybe Kelly made a mistake. That was not a 50-second gap this time. It was about 15 or 10.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, but impressive enough right now. Ben Kelly and Josh Toth both running 5th and 6th overall in the standings right now. Pascal Roschenecker is still back in the number 11 position overall, but that's really, like you say, it could start to really get interesting for second place, especially if he's got him reeled in like what we're thinking we saw on the screen right there. And that's very possible too, because
and Toth, we know, is running with that finger injury, whatever effect that's going to have.
Yeah, and here, as time goes on, you have to think it's going to weigh heavier and heavier. We'll find out how heavy it is as this race wears on. An hour and 45, pushing an hour and 46 minutes in. Thad Duvall is leading here at Steele Creek. Caleb Russell in second, Trevor Bollinger third, Baylor in fourth, and Ben Kelly, XC2, rounds out the top 5. GNCC Live continues after this.
When it comes to guarding your diesel engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance you demand. AMSOIL Signature Series diesel oils provide 6 times more wear protection than required by a leading diesel engine manufacturer. Give your hard-working truck the protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection. See the whole line of diesel products at amsoil.com/diesel.
I'm a sore loser. I'm a sore loser.
Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best?
The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
Cometic products in my engines. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket for those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
What is your passion? Hitting the perfect line, finding the perfect trail, routing the perfect adventure, or just living and breathing the moto life? Do you feel pride for a job well done after tackling a late night in the shop? Do you enjoy time spent with friends and family in the great outdoors? Spanning over 3 decades, one name has taken the lead for supplying the best powersport parts, accessories, and apparel to fuel your passion. One name that knows it goes beyond getting you the best prices, quickest shipping, or largest selection. One name that builds and innovates for our industry. One name that teaches, helps, and supports our fellow riders, racers, and organizations. We are Rocky Mountain ATV MC. We have transformed a team of moto enthusiasts into a powerful teaching team to ensure that you make the best purchasing decision with your hard-earned cash. We build communities with fellow riders to provide you with all you need to make a good decision. See customer photos, reviews, Q&As, and more while you're on our easy-to-use website. Need help fast? Live chat with our specialists, email, or drop us a line. Visit us today and experience the best in OEM and aftermarket parts, accessories, apparel, and industry-leading information. We offer lightning quick shipping, free on orders over $75, a huge inventory, free apparel exchanges both ways, and customer service that leaves all others behind. Experience one name that leads all others. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin along with Jason Wygant and Mikey Wayne's out and about. And also Johnny Gallagher here with us today as we are live from Morganton, North Carolina's FMF Steel Creek GNCC. Thad Duvall leading Caleb Russell with hometown boy Trevor Bollinger running in the number 3 spot. And speaking of hometown boys, you know, an Australian actually calls this place home, believe it or not. Josh Strang, he's running right now back in about the 7th place overall position. He's actually, I think that would put him 5th physically on the racetrack, but with the time adjustments of Ben Kelly and Josh Toth out there, it's got him back in 7th. But, you know, Josh is right about where he has been all season, and, you know, he's starting off a good solid race, and you got to think that maybe the rest of the race might be good for him as well. Jason, from what I understand, he's actually been training right up the road here at Brown Mountain, what, 10, 15 minutes from where we're at right now.
Well, this is crazy. So this area became like a real GNCC hub maybe 10 or 15 years ago. We got Strang lives here and Caleb Russell lives here. We had a bunch of guys that were already from this area, like Trevor Bollinger these days. But lately, it's also become a real haven for the motocross and supercross guys. You had the Gibbs team set up, and Cooper Webb, who's a North Carolina native, he bought a track out here as well. So they had one weekend off from supercross, which was last weekend for Easter. And how did they decide to spend it? Going riding off-road at Brown Mountain with Josh Strang. Really cool.
It was, and actually we had a chance. We were out there. We actually caught up with Josh out there and got some footage, and it was actually a pretty cool opportunity. Check out the action with Josh Strang and all of his buddies, Cooper Webb, Justin Hill. Who else was there? There was a bunch of guys there, right?
Phil Nicoletti, putting bad luck upon everybody out there. Poor Phil. Yeah, so this is good stuff.
Yeah, so last weekend was Easter, and pretty much the whole racing community, motocross, supercross, GNCC, they all take it off, which Easter weekend. And some boys, Jesse Robinson, he's a local around here, and he's been to Brown Mountain a bunch, and he's taken me before in the past, and just a bunch of us guys got together and set up a group text, and I think there was about 20 of us ended up going up to Brown last weekend and just going riding. So Jesse was the group leader, and everyone else just followed and made carnage behind him. So it was a fun day, man. Bunch of moto guys, so Cooper Webb, Justin Hill, Phil Nicoletti, then Caleb Lane, myself, Jojo, Jesse, Charlie Mullins. It was a blast. And like I said, there was no egos there. We just went trail riding, all had some fun. There was no paychecks on the line, so everyone talked, and everyone had a joke around and a good laugh. I mean, that's what we all started riding dirt bikes for in the first place.
Wow, here they are on the downhill section. You see Caleb Russell is out there. A lot of guys coming out to play, it looks like, Jason.
Yeah, and I can't believe, I think Nicoletti and Hill were on full-on supercross suspension, which probably didn't even move. Probably got 1 inch of travel used the entire time.
Justin, and I'm surprised. Justin Hill's dad, wasn't he a former off-road star himself at one point?
Not Hill. Their dad is crazy, jumps anything.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking about.
Now I believe what they did at the end was at a slow race, who could go down a hill slowest, and I think we're gonna have some footage of that where they're actually trying to out-slow each other without.
Whoa!
Wow,
that's pretty slow whenever you.
Yeah, when you stop. So much for friends. At least Strang's looking to make sure he's okay.
Right off of Brown Mountain he goes. Oh, man.
So good on our old buddy Jesse Robinson, who runs tours at Brown Mountain all the time. Has been doing that for years.
Yeah.
But that was an all-star cast.
That most certainly was an all-star cast. There's no doubt about that. What a great thing there with our...
And one supercross star who was not there that would have been super jealous is Aaron Plessinger.
Oh, man.
Who won in the mud last night in Seattle. And He said about 12 times. Reminded me of a GNCC.
Mikey
Let's
down
send
the pits.
Mike away in the pits.
Hey guys, thanks. Down here at the Coastal Racing pits, and I got an update for you on Pascal Rockenecker. Sounds like he's got a bit of an issue.
Yeah, he had a crash on the second lap, and he may have broken a finger or two. His hand didn't look real good, but he's going to put his head down and try to finish strong. But it's definitely starting to hurt him now. The adrenaline's wearing off a little bit, so he can feel the pain a little bit more. But he's still going good. We just got an update. He's about 45 seconds off of Toad. He's about 45 seconds off of Ben Kelly. So hopefully we can push and finish strong, but see what he can do.
He's going to be tested today, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys. Man, hate to hear that about Pascal Rockenecker, possible broken finger, and you can see the disappointment in his mechanic's eyes right there. I mean, they got something good going on there, and for him to be in that situation, it's tough, but impressive at the same time. As he's still holding steadily in that third-place position. It sounded like he might have gained a little bit of time on. They said about 45 seconds. We had 52 at the finish, and they're talking 45, so he might be gaining time out there.
That's crazy.
And he's talking about the pain starting to set in and the adrenaline wearing off. If that's the case, I'm pretty impressed with how well he can ride against the pain like that.
It's all about the points right now. He's been consistent this year. Hasn't gotten the win yet, but he's got to try to stay in that top 3 or top 5 today just to salvage something to get some wins later in the season. Got to stay in the hunt. We welcome Johnny Gallagher back to the show. Can we officially call you the fastest 40-plus quad guy?
I mean, I think I'm officially the oldest guy to win a race,
okay.
At least on the ATV side of things. So
All right.
I guess I'm the fastest 40-plus guy.
Who's challenging you for that?
I don't.
Anybody?
I mean,
Yeah,
I think Chris Borich is 35, so he's got 5 years.
Yeah, you're good.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Even Jeff Pickens, the guys that are winning the Vet A class, those guys are like 31 and 32. So
wow.
I guess I'm just old.
They're that young.
Older.
No, I'm old. It's cool. I'm fine with it. I don't mind. I'll tell you what, though, guys, and I'm sure you've weighed in a good bit on this already, but. Hopefully the microphones on the camera did not pick up what was said in Caleb Russell's pit when he came into fuel.
We just saw shaking head and it didn't look good.
There was a lot of words that we won't say on camera because those younger viewers that are not 13 years of age, they were not PG-13. They were, or what is it, NC-17? That's kind of the rating we're looking for.
Okay.
Furious. He put in a sprint, tried to get away, and the lappers took that. He said he hit. It sounded, from what he said, there was a lot of yelling going on. I heard the curse words quite clearly. The rest of it was kind of muffled, but basically had the lead, lappers took it away, now it's a wash. So he expended all that energy, tried to make a play, and it didn't pan out.
Well, we were talking about that, and that was a scenario that I'd brought up. You know, we were talking about, you were mentioning how the gap hadn't changed. It was 24 seconds, 23 seconds, 22 seconds. It stayed in that range. When they got to the finish line at the end of that lap, that's when we started seeing it happen. It was 20 seconds, and then it was 50, and then he was right on his rear wheel, and then he got around him in the pits the next lap.
And if you notice, it was really, honestly, when we were watching that 24-23, 24-23, they were not in lappers. At that point, they had not caught anyone. There is a bike-only section, and from what I'm told, that is what happened in the bike-only section before the finish. It had been 20 seconds, or 24 seconds. He gave up about 5 seconds in there, finally started catching lappers, brought it down to 20. That was what we saw then. I believe that was the second lap. And then coming to the pit stop on the third lap, again in that bike-only section, went in there with, again, about a 20-second gap and came out of there with nothing, came out of there with inches. So it seems to be that bike-only section over on the other side of the bridge. Between that and the lappers, it's just a great equalizer today.
No doubt, and sometimes you got to have those kind of elements in the racetrack to keep it interesting, because I have to admit, when I first seen the first lap coming through the pro pits, I even alluded to Johnny whenever I thought, man, this is not going to be much of a race if they keep going like this, because there was so much separation. It almost looked like we were at a dusty race, that they were separated by dust rather than being separated just on talent today. I mean, it was really weird.
I always call that's the pace car of GNCC. You can do all that work. It's like the caution flag came out and you're bunching up the field. That's what the lap traffic does. I think Caleb was pumped because he finally had a good start and was going to be able to run the race from the front, and he was looking to take full advantage of that. And we'll have to see. I cannot believe these guys, when they've been as successful as he has been, other riders in other sports that have had that level of success, they take nothing for granted. He gets so mad. It's like, hey, dude, you won the first 2 races, you won 5 titles in a row, et cetera, et cetera. You have the all-time record of, nope, some lapper got my way, I lost the lead today. I don't care what I've accomplished before. I am super mad. It's amazing that they can operate like that.
You know, it's funny. I actually had this conversation with Caleb the other night when we nearly blew up his little shed at his house with a campfire. And apparently he accidentally threw a CO2 cartridge in there. And by accidentally, I think he knew he did it.
Okay.
But regardless, we were standing
Good
there. We had
aim.
this long conversation. It got dark. We're standing there. It's funny. We couldn't even see each other. We're talking in the dark. And I said, you know, a lot of things he was saying I hear in – or you hear in champions over and over and over, and people that are just of that mindset. And I said, honestly, I think that's what's wrong with the rest of us is we're not hard enough on ourselves. We're conditioned, we're taught, we're led to believe that sometimes it's okay to accept when things don't go your way.
Millennial.
Let's face it. If you really think about it, how many champions do you know in history that when they're at their peak are fun to be around and play well with others? You know, you look at Ricky Carmichael, great guy now. You could sit down and have a beer with him, have a great talk. But in the days when he was winning, he was unapproachable. People didn't like him. You know,
good point.
He's paranoid. He's paranoid. He told us at Daytona when we had his the Ricky Carmichael amateur race, he said every year my contract was up, I was sweating it. And I'm like, bro, you're Ricky Carmichael. But that's the way they program themselves. Never rest on your laurels, take nothing for granted, and I guess that's
and that's what it comes down to. Caleb, obviously, I'm sure he was upset with the lappers, but he knew those lappers were going to be there. There's nothing you can, here we see Bollinger on screen, and it looks like nope, I thought he was in a battle there. But he's coming across that Steele Creek Bridge, and those guys dabbing the foot. We're going to call that the Barry Hawk Bridge from now on. It's no longer the Steele Creek Bridge.
Yeah.
It is the Barry Hawk Bridge. They are now across the Barry Hawk Bridge and into the sands of Steele Creek along the creek there. So, no, but he's just so insanely hard on himself about things. And, you know, I see it, and honestly, I guess I'm just not that caliber of person when it comes to being competitive. I mean, I'm hard on myself after a race when I didn't ride well, but some things I do know are just out of my control. Where people like Caleb, I'm sure Thad's the same way, champions through and through that are used to winning, that will accept nothing less of themselves. They're brutally hard on themselves all the time, 24 hours a day about everything. And it's honestly, it's kind of tiring to be around them.
Well, I must be cut from championship material then, because, gosh, I mean, you're talking about me and my life in general.
Hard on yourself?
Yeah, no.
Well, I don't know if Rodney's hard on himself. He does make the mistakes.
I'm not hard on myself at all.
He has the mistakes part down.
I have the mistake part down.
Just for a little bit of perspective, I have to admit, like, I clearly I'll never be at Caleb's Russell's level, but the harder I work and the more I put into my racing and my life, honestly, I find myself becoming more like that, because you do so much work. You put in so much effort that, you know, you come off after a race like yesterday, I did terrible, but people are like, oh man, you rode great. You started 17th, you came to 10th, and I'm like, I finished 10th. There's nothing to be happy about that. I was terrible. I was disgusting. I should have my four-wheeler taken away and be flogged with a cat of nine nails. And it's serious. That's how I feel about it. Where a few years ago I'd have been like, oh man, top 10, good day. So I think the harder you work, the more you put into it. And that's why we see, again, Caleb sitting here in the pits, again, not cussing at his crew, not cussing at the lappers, cussing at himself, because he played his cards. The deck didn't shuffle the way he thought it would or hoped it would, and now he's got to reshuffle and go again.
Yeah, and Johnny, I recognize that in you as well. So, and you've been a lot harder to get along with. No.
Oh, I don't mind. I don't want to play well with others anymore.
No.
I just want to win.
No, but I when you talk about that, I do recognize that in you a lot. So, good job, man. Good way to find that, and maybe not purposely or unpurposely, whatever the case may be. But
in most of the world, we reward people for being well-liked and well-behaved. But in athletics, especially at the highest level, success is the only thing that matters. Speaking of success, the man out front right now, Thad Duvall, he's stretched it out a few bike lengths over Caleb Russell, starting to try and put some lappers between himself and the number one FMF KTM machine of Caleb Russell. They're in the chicanes. They're headed in at the completion. This will be 2 hours, 2 minutes, 18 seconds as they work their way in. And Rodney, this thing is shaping up to be just what it has been week in and week out here, a battle between two titans, a clash of the titans, if you will.
Amen on that. And we're about to witness the last hour of this battle, and this seems to be the stage setter for us so far this year. It sets up in the last hour. These two, somehow or another, if they've been together or if they haven't been together, at the 2 hour mark, they seem to find each other. They have been basically together or battling each other all day long. There's Thad Duvall in the pits. He stops. Now, does Caleb Russell also stops. That's 2 pit stops these guys have taken, and I wondered about that because of, they seem to have stopped a little early, but it was on lap 3. If it would be a 6-lap race, that would have been smart, but it's really early in lap 3, so they had still another 10 miles to go after that. So I was wondering if a second pit stop might be in order, and that's exactly what it is. Both leaders pit, and we still got Thad Duvall out front, and we've got the number 1 of Russell in second. Now, Johnny,
Well, actually, and I'm just looking here because I'm thinking, do we know how many lap race it's going to be yet?
I think they, correct me if I'm wrong, did you say 7-lap race, Adam or Tyler? 7 laps.
Okay.
7 laps.
So 7-lap race, and actually they pitted at the completion of lap 3.
Exactly.
So it was after 3. So if it would have been a 6-lap race,
I think they pitted at the beginning of lap 3, didn't they?
No, it was the end of 3 that they pitted. And so what they were doing is they were kind of at that point. I don't know if they had done.
Well, then that would have been lap 4 then, because they were at the beginning of the lap.
Correct.
Okay.
Technically, it was the early in lap 4 that they pitted.
I was thinking it was lap. Okay.
And when they came into pit again, that was when we saw, because at the end of lap 1, Caleb had that 24-second lead. At the end of lap 2, Caleb had that 20-second lead, and then at the end of lap 3, they were wheel to wheel, and then at the beginning of lap 4 is when Thad passed him in the pit. So you have to look and wonder, Thad having expended all that energy and kind of, regardless of if he thinks he caught Caleb or he understands, whether it was or wasn't lappers, Thad's feeling like he's kind of the winner here because he's already reeled Caleb in once. Now he's got the lead, and here we are at the 1.5, and we can see that he has not let up the pace. You can tell by the intensity that these guys are still going hard for sure.
Amazing. You watch the styles of these guys racing right now, and a couple of years ago, you may have watched Thad, and where he got his nickname of Bad Thad. He was just so all over the place, but he's still fast. Thad is still fast, but he seems to be in so much more control here this year than in so many years in the past that we've seen him fast here in North Carolina. And I'm thinking that, hey, Thad's in the best position to get that redemption of this mountain and this particular event itself here today. I mean, he's been in these positions in the past, but never more so stronger than what he is right now, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. He's, I don't know if we touched on it already yet. I was out of the studio for a little bit, but, in his interview, he didn't really allude to it as much, but he did say one thing that if you were listening closely, he said, Caleb had a little bit more than I did at the end in Georgia, and that was the difference. That was the decision maker. And then he made several, or I shouldn't say several, he made at least one very pointed Instagram post last week stating that he knew what he needed to do, and he had been working on it for the last 2 weeks, and he was ready to come here and show that he had what it took. So that's a big statement to make, but if you back it up, that's all that matters. And, I know that both of these two guys both know that they're taking each other right to the wall, so there's nothing left on the table. They're doing all they can to try and get these wins and to get themselves to the finish line first.
And down in the Rockstar Husqvarna pits, that is Josh Strang's mechanic, I believe, letting him know he's in 5th place in the pro class. He is 7th overall right now, but
Rodney, there we see on screen again, wheel to wheel, Thad Duvall, Caleb Russell battling their way up through. It's like these two, they just magnets.
Yeah, they stick together nearly every race. When that green flag flies, they somehow or another end up finding each other. Well, as time rolls on, we see that Trevor Bollinger is checked in 3 minutes and 2 seconds behind Caleb Russell. Bollinger in 3rd. Here's something interesting to think about. 59.7 seconds, nearly a full minute, is the gap between 3rd and 4th place position now. Bollinger turning a 25.18 that last time around. Baylor a 25.44. Ben Kelly, on the other hand, we're going to be keeping an eye out on him because if things are looking right for him, he might be able to move up a little bit further in the standings there in the overall. Josh Strang is checked in with 5 laps complete. He is in the 5th place position. He is 33, nearly 34 seconds behind Stu Baylor. Jordan Ashburn checks in the number 6 spot physically on the racetrack right now. And now Ben Kelly's checked in, and he is on adjusted time in the number 4 position. And he is he's 59 seconds behind Trevor Bollinger on adjusted time. So he has to make up a whole minute to catch up to Trevor Bollinger right now. But he's gotten around Stu Baylor, leading Stu Baylor by 1 second on adjusted time right now. Pretty interesting stuff there. Josh Strang is now 6th place in the overall as we take a look at the standings. As still about 33, almost 34 seconds back. Jordan Ashburn, Lane Michael, Josh Toth checks in second in the XC2 class. He is now ninth place overall. The gap 13.9 seconds. That's not bad. And we talked about the injury there that he had, Pascal Rachnecker. We thought that maybe that gap had tightened up. I know Jason Wygant had watched that, and it looked like that Pascal had tightened things up shortly after the pit stop there. But that's not so much the case now as we take a little closer look at that. Our leaderboard, again, as you take a look at that, is straying in 6th, as we told you. Jordan Ashburn, Josh Toth is 8th. Lane Michael is 9th. I said Toth was in 9th, but he's actually 8th. Lane Michael is 9th now. And old GB himself, Grant Baylor, rounds out the top 10. All right, let's go through some of our standings here in the amateur ranks. Actually, let's check in with the XC2 real quick as well. In the XC3, I'm sure there's some interest poised there. A lot of folks wondering what is going on further behind those two riders up front, Josh Toth and Bing Kelly. Well, Pascal Rachnecker, as we told you, in 3rd place. He was 52 seconds back. Not real sure where he's going to be at right now. Craig DeLong was 4th. Nick Davis in the number 5 spot. Leon Draper in 6th. Zach Hayes 7th. Trevor Barrett is 8th. 9th is Mike Witkowski. And Evan Smith rounding out the top 10. Go to the FMF XC3 class. Those guys are due in less than 10 minutes. But look at this. Chris Venditti. Venditti out front in this one by only 1.3 seconds after 4 laps of racing complete. Oh, mercy. What's going on here, Johnny?
Ben Kelly just went up the hill here, and now we've got a little bottleneck. Josh Toth should be coming, but it cleared out. Oh, boy, I thought that might play in.
That could have very easily.
Toth on screen coming here just about any second. As he said, he had only been 13 seconds behind. I don't know what happened here, Rodney, but he lost some time.
Looks like it. It most certainly looks like it.
Unless we missed him. Kelly is through, and this is far more than 13 seconds.
It most certainly is. We'll keep an eye on that. Is that him coming there?
No. Did we miss? He was ahead of Lane Michael when we last saw him. Something has happened with Josh Toth, and he has lost some ground.
Wow. So that's what we're thinking right now, and keep an eye on that, Johnny. I'm going to run some.
There he is.
There he is, yep.
That is way more than 13 seconds.
Wow, a lot happened.
That is closer to 40 seconds plus.
Yeah, that could be where we're seeing some of the problems come into play now and late in the race. I mean, hey, we are into the 3rd hour now, and 2 hours generally is about what most people can stand of anything. I think at 3rd hour is when it starts to get tough. That kind of makes sense. But let's go ahead and take a look at this FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class. Chris Venditti out front of Jesse Ansley. There was 1.3 seconds that separated the two. They turned nearly identical lap time, so they're running back and forth. We got a number 823. Is that a Sherco that may be running in podium position contention in the FMF XC3 class? Jason Langenbeck out of Clarksburg, Massachusetts. We got Sterling, Illinois' Cody Barnes in 4th. Jason Raines out of Travelers Rest, South Carolina, rounds out your top 5. Alex Teagarden, who got the whole shot, is back in the number 6 spot right now. Looking at some of these other classes now, the Open A class, Bryce Coster out of Sorrento, Florida, 34-second lead over Levi Keller, the 34 out of Bainbridge, Ohio. Connor Smith, the 36 out of Denver, North Carolina, 10.5 seconds back is 3rd. 4th place, the 101 of Evan Earl from Blacksburg, South Carolina. And Ben Parsons, the 43 from Orlando, Florida, another 13 seconds back. Man, Evan Earl, minute 45 seconds off pace. That's Vance Earl's boy, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And, man, we know if Evan Earl's in 4th place, this Open A class must be a stacked class for sure, because Evan's very fast himself.
Yeah, he's been on the overall amateur podium a number of times throughout the last couple of years. So if he's back that far, that things must be either not going his way today, or else that class is really rolling along.
And as we look at our next class, JoJo Bowden, I believe is how you say that. I've always screwed that up. I've called him Bowden, but it's JoJo Bowden, the 444 from Lockport, New York. Get this, 2 minutes, 43 seconds. He deserves his name said right. Over Brewer Carley, the 414 out of Lexington, South Carolina. Sumter, South Carolina's Chase Hayes, the 33. Another 353 back. There's some big separations in this class. Dakota DeVore, the 59 from Yorksville, Ohio, only 14 seconds back of him. And Owen Guys from Harwinton, Connecticut, 28.5 seconds back to round out your top 5 there in the 250A class. 200A class, Ryder LeBlanc, the 513 from New Florence, Pennsylvania, 1 minute 19-second lead over Chase Colville, the number 318 from West Sunbury, Pennsylvania. Cole Johnson, the 454 from Vail, North Carolina, is third. Fourth place, Joe Marsh out of Indianola, Pennsylvania. He's riding on the 39. And fifth place, the 290 of Dylan Zimpel out of Iron Station, North Carolina. If I'm not mistaken, one of last year's top youth riders, or at least maybe the year before top youth riders, and good to see him holding well here in the big bike classes. Four-stroke A lights class has Brody Johnson out front from Landham, South Carolina, 51-second lead over Bolton B. Roth. The 258 from Pfafftown, North Carolina, 238 Blake Grindstaff, sorry about that, from Vail, North Carolina is third. 151 Christopher McManus out of Morganton, North Carolina is fourth. And Connor Keegan from Coal Center, PA, the 425, rounds out the top 5 in the four-stroke A lights class. As we look at the Junior AB, 25 plus, Nathan Zicklow. He got the whole shot in that class and hasn't looked back. A 19-second lead over Dustin Ulrich, the 353 from Trevorton, Pennsylvania. Tyler Burton, the 64 out of Troutman, North Carolina, is third. Andrew Boggs, the 62 from Masontown, West Virginia, fourth. Lucas Towery, son of Ricky Towery, is in the number 5 spot out of Lattimore, North Carolina. Taking a look at the Bet A class, Nathan Allring out of Cincinnati, Ohio. 21 seconds over the 42 of Sam Forrester from Elkton, Maryland. In the number 3 spot, the 387 of Sam Chalk from Charlotte, North Carolina. 447, Buddy Barnes from Equinuk, Pennsylvania. And Surly Mancio out of New Milford, Connecticut. The 360 rounds out your top 5. A lot of names coming out of the Northeast Connecticut area here, especially since Ben Kelly and the boys started making waves here in GNCC racing. I mean, we had a few here and there, but man, they're coming out in waves now. Matt Bruffy leading the Open B class from West Virginia. This is the B classes. 42-second over Trenton Boffman, the 361. Max Horetzko out of Indianola, PA, the 383 in third. 541, Dylan Ely out of Waynesburg, PA, in fourth. Dylan Turner out of Mill Spring, North Carolina, rounds out your top 5. Looking next at the 250B class, Cole Whitmer out of Amity, Pennsylvania, the 518 with a 1-minute lead over the 422 of Ian Flynn from Greensboro, PA. Andrew Coffey, the 730 from Iron Station, North Carolina, is third. Sean Cochran, the 356 from Cross Lanes, West Virginia, in fourth. And Wilson Earhart, the 999 from Concord, North Carolina, rounds out the top 5. And the 250B or 200B class, Sean Myers out of Reimersburg, Pennsylvania, the 155 has he took over the lead on this last lap. He just checked in. And we got Colby Davis in second, Trent Gaither in third, Michael Overstreet in fourth, Justin Gibbs rounding out the top 5. But we have changes taking place in that 200B class. Sean Myers has taken over the lead now. And as we real quick, 2 more classes, top 5, Gatlin Welburn, who is the brother-in-law to Caleb Russell, is leading the 4-stroke B lights class from Boonville, North Carolina. Actually, he just went into the lead of that class as well. So we got changes going on with Ryan Gregory in second, Tyler Sylvia third, Mac Reimer in fourth, and Joe Spivey in fifth. Interesting things happening there. Steve Lambruno, Vet B class leader. Ben Conaway is second. Ryan Champion out of Hudson, North Carolina, in third. William O'Brien is out of Whispering Pines, North Carolina, in fourth. And Justin Ramsey out of Irwin, Tennessee, rounds out the top 5. Now, there you go. That is, Senior B. I'm sorry, didn't see that one. Jason Stickley, Mark Proper, 1 and 2, both out of Pennsylvania. We got Devin Ferguson in third, Jeffrey Flynn in fourth, and Michael Eller rounds out the top 5 in the Senior B 40-plus class. And that might have been one of the first classes we looked at. But right now, things are heating up out there on that racetrack. There's no doubt about it. And we've had some great battles. Duvall, Russell, Bollinger, and now Ben Kelly in the 4th place position with Stu Baylor rounding out the top 5 overall after time adjustments. Looks like that Bollinger enjoying about a 1-minute lead, or was at the end of lap number 5 over Stu Baylor. We'll see here in a few minutes, about 10 minutes when they check back in, whether or not he's been able to maintain that same type of pace out there. Well, folks, you know, out here in these mountainous terrains, you watch these things and sometimes you might think, wow, what if something happens out there? What if somebody gets hurt? How do they get people out of the woods? You know,
Unfortunately, motorcycle and ATV racing is inherently a dangerous sport, and if you race and ride, you're likely going to crash or wreck at some particular point in time. And unfortunately, that is part of the problems that we have here in GNCC. It's not the fact that we don't know that it's a dangerous sport, but we try to do things that we can to make it less dangerous, I guess is the best way that we can put it. And our good friends at the Kurt Caselli Foundation has helped us out this year in providing us with a brand new piece of equipment that's going to help make that possible here in 2018.
Hey guys, my name's Donnie Emler with the Kurt Caselli Foundation. We're really excited to be here at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC this weekend. I'm super excited because the Kurt Caselli Foundation is donating something that's very special to us. The foundation is all about safety for off-road to protect and serve the lives of off-road riders. And the foundation was formed in 2014 along with Kurt's mom, sister, and fiance. I have the pleasure of sitting on the board. And we've done a lot of work, mainly on the West Coast. That's where Kurt did a lot of racing, as you know, Baja, National Hare and Hound, Works. So we've been doing a lot of work in the name of safety out on the West Coast. This is kind of our first forte diving into the East Coast, and we figured what better of a partner to have than the GNCC series, the largest off-road racing series in the United States. As you can see behind me, we're pretty excited. This Kawasaki mule that you see here, we've donated to the GNCC series for safety. This Kawasaki mule is completely outfitted with medical backboard in the back that the paramedics, when they get here to the facility, they can go ahead and take this mule, and it allows them to access different points to get to injured riders if that's in case what happens. So we're really excited to team up with the GNCC series. This is really important for us. We do a lot throughout the year. One of our main goals this year is to spend upwards of $120,000 on safety is our budget, our goal. We have 3 prongs to our mission. It's before the race starts, so that'd be out pre-marking the course, helping mark anything that maybe professional riders come up a little faster than slower guys and help mark the course a little bit easier for them. During, so this would be something that would be during to help people that that might get injured on the course, better accessibility to get to them quicker. And then afterwards, we have a scholarship program. So any of you racers out there that are currently going to college, but also racing, we give away 2 scholarships a year to help out kind of life after off-road racing. So it's a great foundation. We couldn't be here without the support of all the off-road community, the donations that come in. We love you guys. I mean, this for me to be able to sit on this foundation board is something that's truly inspiring, and the work that we do every day, it means a lot. And for all you out there, you can follow us on social media at KC66 Foundation. We'd really like to give a shout out to all the great people to help us put this project together. The Kurt Caselli safety vehicle, as you can see behind me, without the help of companies like Kawasaki, Westfield Power Sports, Baja Designs, and PCI Radios, and of course the great folks at the GNCC series, this wouldn't have happened. And we're so excited to donate this vehicle to you guys in the name of safety.
Well, we got a shot there a moment ago. Still Duvall and Russell running 1 and 2, and Johnny, that's pretty cool, the Kurt Caselli Foundation bringing that piece of equipment out to us. I mean, I understand we'll be getting a defibrillator in case that would ever needed to be used in the future. I mean, these are things that we normally don't need and maybe haven't had a whole lot of need for in the past, but we know that there's always that circumstance, that situation that maybe hasn't come by this way yet, and chance and circumstance collide sometimes to get it. And speaking of chance and circumstance, there is a couple of chances and circumstances.
Caleb Russell has taken over the lead. He is back in front of Thad Duvall, and that is both chance and circumstance.
Exactly. He took a chance under the circumstances and was able to get back out front.
Oh, he had a little bobble there. Thought Thad was maybe going to be able to make a run at him. That section is so rough. The drone really gives you a good perspective on just how rough it is coming through there as he's able to chase those guys through. But absolutely, Lil D from FMF here this weekend with us actually raced this morning in the 10 a.m. race. Was out there on one of Caleb Russell's bikes, and it really does put in perspective. And he talked about what their mission is and how they want to do things, and the basics of it are this: what we do is not the most safe thing on the face of the planet,
right?
But it's a dangerous sport, but it doesn't mean that we can't take all the precautions necessary to make it as safe as it can possibly
Right.
be. You can't control everything, but the things that you can control and the things that you can prevent, there's no excuse not to do everything necessary and possible to do so. And it's a great foundation, great people. Definitely excited to have them out here with us this weekend at the GNCC at Steele Creek, and hoping they can make it to more events in the future.
For sure, and I believe our leaders just went past, what, the 7.5 mile mark?
That was the 10.
Oh, that was the 10.
Or no, yes, that was, or
9.
the 9, sorry.
9.
We'll see them at the 10. They'll be coming back at us, which is this shot right here.
Okay, my shot list must be off there. I'll make a note of that so we know exactly where we are. And look at this, this trail. You know, we talked, Jason Wygant was talking earlier about how rough this trail is and how tough of a trail this particular section right here just before the 10. Little rough. It's got a lot of dirt. You know, I've ridden this track on Friday before the race, and I've ridden it on Sunday after the race. Caleb Russell out front here at the 10-mile marker now, Johnny Gallagher, as, he has established himself there, and as we said, chance and circumstance come together, and he's able to bring it to his advantage, and now we're back to the same scenario that we were 3 weeks ago in Georgia, if you remember.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, these guys have swapped the position at least twice today. In Georgia, it was more like about 2 tons a mile, it seemed like at times. So definitely a torrid battle those guys had there, but it's almost like one of those things where, you know, we look at these GNCCs, yes, it's a series, but we need to start looking at it as a week-to-week series of, it's not like one race ends and the next one begins. It's almost like these guys are just continuing throughout the race. They end up in the same spot. Caleb leading, Thad second. Thad leading, Caleb second. It's just a seesaw. It's back and forth. And no matter what changes, no matter who gets a bad start, no matter who gets back, these two find each other.
They do. They do. That is amazing, and they usually find each other at the front of the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and then we'll see them coming through VP Fuels Pro Row here in just a few moments. But first, they got to make their way through the finish line chicanes. So how cool is this? Look at this, folks. This is what it's like if you could be at a GNCC as a robin or some kind of a cool bird that could just fly around and check it all out. And this is what it looks like. Awesome drone footage brought to us here. You know, the parking's starting to thin out a little bit as some of the morning racers leave and some of the spectators are starting to head out.
That looks like there's nobody here by comparison.
Yeah, but this place has been, I'm sure yesterday the shots had to be crazy.
Wow. Crazy shots. Yes, they were. Here we go. We should be getting near the finish line region. According to my calculations, we're within a couple of minutes, so it may be a little longer before we see those two. But wow, Thad and Caleb right back to where they basically picked up, left off a couple of weeks ago. Keep picking that up and going with it. And, you know, eventually you got to think that the favor's going to play in Thad's lap eventually, and he's going to be in the lead when the checkers finally come out instead of it the other way around.
Well, you know, we've really never seen this on the bike side of things like we have on the quads, where you have a champion that's kind of sitting, a reigning sitting champion, and you have a rider come up and really challenge him. And it seems like the shift of power in bikes has always been so quick. Somebody kind of just all of a sudden dominates. You know, it's not often that you see, like even when Caleb was coming up, it wasn't like he was second, and then he won. It was like he was kind of hit or miss. He would win a couple of races, but then something would happen, and he'd have a couple of bad races, and that's why he lost championships. And then he figured it out, and it was just super dominant. All of a sudden, no contest. He did have some battles with Charlie there. They battled for the championship down to their last race, the 1 year, obviously. But at that time, Charlie wasn't the reigning champion. Paul Whibley was. So it was, you know, it's just not the same kind of dynamic. Whereas now you've got Caleb, who's the reigning and sitting champion. Thad, who just seems to be second, all last year the same thing. And, you know, we've seen it go where it just lasts so much longer than you think it should. You know, so is it going to continue to click off that way where Caleb's able to stay on top, or is one of these races going to be the one where Thad, which he did win races last year, he beat Caleb, but to be able to do it in a consistent basis, you know, that's kind of the last thing that we're waiting on of Thad Duvall.
And almost had the points lead at the summer break. I mean,
absolutely, it was a battle for sure last year.
It was, and I have a tendency to think that we could see that same scenario shape up unless Thad is not able to figure out a way to get around Caleb and at least get a couple of wins, a few wins. I mean, it's a matter right now of mistakes.
There we go.
Yeah, there comes Caleb at the finish here, and I believe Duvall is coming hard with him.
Absolutely. These guys are pushing.
So watching, I'm trying to see what kind of sense of urgency. But I think we're right back where we were a few weeks ago. We talked about it then, these guys are in such control right now. They're where they want to be. I mean, I know Thad wants to be up front, but both these riders, I think, really know it and feel it. It's not real important where you're at right now in this battle. Most important is whenever we come around at the end of lap number 7 to take the checkers. That's when it's going to weigh the heaviest.
Absolutely. We see Caleb watched the front end there, taking a water bottle, and just about went down. So a little bit of a precarious maneuver, getting a bottle. Oh, and there he spits it out. He loses the water bottle he just got, so I don't know how much he got out of it. Hopefully he got a little hydration there. Otherwise it was a wasted effort. But
how important? That's another question. I mean, these guys, they hydrate. Your body's staying hydrated. How important is it to drink in these 3-hour races? I mean, under these conditions, it's not but about 60 degrees or so, if it's that.
Regardless, you'd be surprised how much these guys are sweating and how much hydration and fuel that they're burning right now. So they need to replenish it. No matter how hydrated these guys were 3 hours ago, when they crossed the finish line, you're going to be some level of dehydrated no matter how much you drink. And the reality of it is, when you start getting dehydrated, you get muscle cramps. Muscle cramps at the pace that these guys are going are not something you can contend with. You can easily lose the grip on the handlebars and go down. That's why these guys spend so much time and effort. It's not just the energy levels, although that is obviously a big part of it. It truly is. I mean, when you start to get dehydrated, you lose physical strength, and you're liable to get muscle cramps.
And from what I understand, too, you also mental awareness, your judgment sometimes maybe not as spot on as it should be whenever you start getting...
Oh, absolutely. When you get to the point of dehydration where you're, in need of an IV and that kind of stuff, absolutely. You can experience hallucinations and you're not thinking clearly. But the reality of where these guys are at with their fitness, they know exactly how much they need to drink. It's calculated. They know which laps they're going to take bottles. They obviously both wear the drink system around their waist, so they have water on board. Here is, look at this. Caleb Russell has opened it up a little bit over Thad Duvall. Don't know what happened there. He was right on his rear wheel, and now he's opened it up just a little bit. Could just be a lapper, but these guys right now, Rodney, this is a sprint.
Yeah.
This is no longer... They're going to sprint all the way to the finish.
They've been sprinting like this since the drop of the green flag, man. I mean,
but they were like Carl Lewis sprinting, and now they're like Usain Bolt.
Okay.
They were running like a 13 or 14 second 100, and now they're running like an 8 second 100
Right,
meters.
Man, that's hard to believe that they could find that much speed. I mean, you'd think they're going as fast as they can possibly go, and then they go faster.
Look at the gap to third place.
Right.
If you want to know how fast Caleb Russell and Thad Duvall are right now, guys, these guys are in another class. Not taking anything away from everybody behind them. These are the normal human beings. These are guys that are fit, they're training, they're doing everything right, their bikes work well, but they are not in the same class as Thad Duvall and Caleb Russell right now. These guys are putting on an absolute clinic, and they are just destroying the rest of the field.
Well, 6 laps down now, so I believe this will be the 7th and final lap that we're now heading into. 2 hours and 30 minutes into this race, working on 2:31. 2 seconds separating Caleb Russell and Thad Duvall as they came through the finish line there a few moments ago. 3 minutes and 2 seconds separated Trevor Bollinger and second place at the end, which would have been Caleb Russell at the end of lap number 5. So Bollinger is at least 3 minutes and 2 seconds, maybe closer to 3:30, even 4 whenever we see him.
Let me tell you right now. Oh, here's Caleb Russell on screen, 2.5 mile marker, sprinting through. And again, up on the pegs, don't let it deceive you, folks. He is sprinting. And Thad Duvall doing the same, trying to go after him. Every little inch counts at this point, because if Caleb can get one lapper in between them, it could be the difference. But by the same token, they hit a tight section. There's a lapper in front of him. Thad's right back on his rear wheel.
I don't know if it was you or Jason that alluded to this a few moments ago, but the energy that was expelled by Thad Duvall to close that gap of 20-some seconds, I watched Thad go through, and, I'm not saying he's not as aggressive and not as smooth, but he looks like lost a little bit of time, and it looked like he wasn't as aggressive and as smooth that time on that shot. Now, whether or not it's just a few seconds that we're seeing there, but I have to begin to wonder if what you guys are mentioning might be coming into play here a little later in the race. I know you'd mentioned about him talking about his physical fitness, and I get that, but that's under normal circumstances and conditions. He had to push harder earlier. Maybe it kind of changed things up for him a little bit.
Absolutely, and I don't think Thad was probably anticipating that, and I think, we were talking before about Caleb's frustration. I actually think that was Caleb's frustration. He expended all of that energy trying to sprint away and then had that gap erased by so he's looking as I wasted energy I wasted the effort, I wasted an opportunity, where in reality, he may have possibly pushed Thad into the red zone, and now we're seeing the results of that. But again, we're looking at a gap of bike lengths. This isn't even seconds.
2 seconds.
This is still a battle all the way to the finish. That's what we're expecting to see.
Well, we had a chance to catch up with Caleb coming into this. I know it's a little late in the race, but this gives you a pretty good perspective of how Caleb was thinking coming into this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, the further along the line I get winning these races, you know, my strategy, my racecraft's changed, and you know, I'm just managing the races. It may not seem like I'm, you know, in control when I'm behind, but I'm right where I want to be, and that's you know, in the hunt at the end, and lay it down the last 2 or 2.5 laps, and see what these guys are made of. And, you know, only one guy's really been able to hang with me this year, and it's Thad. So it's all been working out, and you know, it's not that he's not trying or, you know, not in shape or whatever. Just I've been able to get it done on the last lap and put myself in a little bit better position. But you know, he almost had me there in Georgia, got around on the last lap, and I was just bonsai'd a line and made it work out. But you know, the racing's close, the racing's good, and I really enjoy it like that. You know, it makes the day go by faster. Doesn't seem like it's just drug out and like it's just out there, you know, riding around. You're actually like focused the entire time. So I enjoy that aspect of it. It's a lot more stressful, I'm sure, for everybody, like the team and everything. But I'm not really like stressed out there when I'm battling with him for the lead. You know, I'm enjoying it, and you know, I finally, you know, came to the realization and accepted the fact and got over my own ego that, you know, I'm not miles ahead of these guys like I was in 2015. You know, they've caught up, and yeah, I just got to figure out another way to win, and that's what we're doing.
Dude, just like I said, Johnny Gallagher, you know, I kind of brushed through that a little bit. I mean, the guy's just full of confidence. I mean, he realizes and he admits these guys have found and they've gotten a little bit closer to his level, but he's still full of confidence.
I'll tell you what, quick little story here before we move on. I've been staying at Caleb's place since Sunday. Came up from Florida, and I believe it was Wednesday we were riding, and Jodo Bowden was there with us as well, and Lane Michael. And Lane was out putting in some laps. Caleb had stopped. We were kind of each doing our own structured motos. And I was done for the day. Oh, here we see Trevor Bollinger on screen, still in that third place position. Rodney, did we get a split to see exactly how far Bollinger is behind those guys? I'd be curious to see if you've been able to make up 3:31. So we lost about another 31 seconds there. So again, that gap is just continuing to grow. Those guys are just really pushing the pace out front. Got to be frustrating for Bollinger. He's thinking, man, this is my hometown race. This was supposed to be my jam, but still in a comfortable podium position, and that will be awesome for him to be on the podium in front of his hometown fans if he can keep it there. But Lane Michael was coming, and he couldn't have been more than 10 seconds up the trail from being where Caleb was at. And Caleb, without ever even considering it, was ready to start his moto, and he just clicked his watch and took off, probably 8 or 9 seconds in front of Lane. And JoJo looked at me and said, I wish I had his confidence. And I never really thought about what he was saying. You know, normally you would think, oh, there's another rider coming. I don't want to impede their progress. You wouldn't go out in front of them. You would just wait until they went by and either jump in behind them. But in Caleb's mind, he's like, well, I know I'm going faster in the lane, so as long as I take off in front of him. And that's not to take anything away from Lane, who's, you know, won many races in the XC2, has finished on the overall podium, and is absolutely shredding. But that's just the aura of confidence that Caleb carries. Like, he actually, I can't really say what he said because it alludes to some brands and other things, but long story short, he's pretty confident that he can win. He likes his setup, he likes his bike, his mechanic, and everything, but he pretty much believes that, you know, as good as his bike is, as good as everything is, he's the X factor. He
can win on anything.
Well, not that he can win on anything, because that's obviously not true, but if a machine will make it to the finish line, if it's good enough, Caleb thinks he can make it competitive, and that's, you know, it's pretty crazy. And actually, I guess I can say, because he was talking about coming out and racing his dad's 1991 KTM 250 that is in his basement, and he believes, I made a comment, I said, you couldn't even finish top 20 on that. And he said, top 20 overall on this, it's a dirt bike. He said, there's no doubt in my mind I could run top 5. I said, top 5, with the best riders in the world on a 1991 KTM 250 EXC 2-stroke. And he looked at me without hesitation and said, absolutely.
That's confidence right there, I tell you, folks. And that's the kind of champions that we're dealing with right now as we turn our attention back to the racetrack here. Johnny, you know, I can't help but think about somebody that really enjoyed this portion of the race. She worked in with us at Sign Up, and unfortunately, we lost one of our near and dear close friends in GNCC Sign Up. Her name was Ruth Ann Benson, and the thing is, she was sick for a while, and nobody even knew it. And she kept coming to the races and coming to the races, and she came right up to as long as she possibly could. And, of course, her granddaughter, Katie Benson, is an avid motocross racer and a GNCC racer. She raced the women's class this morning. She got the whole shot in the class this morning, and I think that was great and a great way to celebrate Ruth Ann. And, you know, it's heartbreaking at this when we mention Ruth Ann, and I think about it, and I look over at Sign Up, and I miss her sitting over there, and her smiling face. She always come to me, did you make it to the dentist? Did you get that tooth filled or something like that? But always caring about everybody, and Ruth is certainly going to be missed. There's no doubt about that. So Godspeed to her, and prayers be with her family to help recover from this. So, yeah, I hate that. I really do, but good to see Katie Steele out here. Right now we are checking things with Caleb Russell out front, Duvall in second. Bollinger, the hometown boy, looking for his best finish ever in the XC1. Stick around, GNCC Live will come in just a few moments to find out if he can make that happen.
The AMSOIL GNCC series on RacerTV is brought to you in part by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Rocky Mountain ATVMC, get ready. And Monster Energy, unleash the beast.
When it comes to guarding your diesel engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance you demand. AMSOIL Signature Series diesel oils provide 6 times more wear protection than required by a leading diesel engine manufacturer. Give your hard-working truck the protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection. See the whole line of diesel products at amsoil.com/diesel.
I'm a sore loser. I'm a sore loser.
Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best?
The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why I
only use
Cometic products in my engines. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket for those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
And welcome back to GNCC Live under white flag conditions here at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. I'm Rodney Tomlin along with Johnny Gallagher, Jason White a few moments ago with us, and of course our own Mikey Wayne's out and about. And our running order now after 6 laps of racing complete. Russell, Duvall, Bollinger. There's about 3.5 minutes between third. Trevor Bollinger has physically a minute on Stuart Baylor, 1:35 now. As we look at time adjustments for the overall third place position, he is right now 2 minutes and about a little over 2 minutes ahead. So he should have third place pretty much wrapped up over Ben Kelly on adjusted time even. Stu Baylor is running 5th on adjusted time. Josh Strang in 6th. Josh Toth, XC2 second place, is running 7th. Jordan Ashburn is 8th. Lane Michael in 9th. And Pascal Rachnecker rounds out your top 10. He is 3rd in the XC2 250 Pro class.
Yeah, you know, it's barely been good battling all day in this XC1 class. And actually, the XC2 class, Toth was making it interesting there. I don't know, what was the gap when they checked in that lap there?
That last time around, they've been keeping it within 15 to 20 seconds, I know. And last time around when Toth checked in, he'd actually dropped 1:33 seconds.
So there's
that's a minute and 15 seconds in one lap.
Yeah, that's what we saw. You know, when he was 13 seconds when they checked in, and here when we saw him at this shot, actually, or no, it was just a little bit. No, it was before this. It was at the 1.5 mile marker.
Yeah.
So from the finish to the 1.5, he had dropped well over 45 seconds, and that wasn't on a clock. That was just looking Yeah, I mean, it could have been over a minute.
Right.
So he had dropped some serious time in that 1.5 miles. So I have to believe something happened there. That's not just, oh, my hand hurts, I'm going to slow down.
Right.
Something happens when you lose a minute in a 1.5 miles. So don't know if he had an issue, if he went down, but he's obviously been able to maintain that second place gap. What is the gap between Toth and Rocknecker there over the third place spot?
Toth and Rocknecker looking at a only, now it's now 1 minute and 41 seconds. So that's staying about steady there. I think they were close to that a few moments ago. Yeah, but Pascal, man, I mean, that's the funny thing. I mean, we were talking about keep him in sight, and he did do a good job of that. Look where it put him right now, because if you look back to the fourth place position, now, if I'm not mistaken, I remember last check, there was a bit of a gap back to Nick Davis, and now it is Craig DeLong in that number 4 position as he's gotten around Nick Davis. 3 minutes and 48 seconds back to DeLong from Pascal Rocknecker. I mean, and it looked like it was going to be like that in the XC1 class. When those guys came through the pro pits, I thought, oh boy, this is going to be a stretched out day, 20-some seconds. But these other classes, they've stretched out.
Yeah,
wow.
I can't believe that the separation in XC2. That's crazy. I mean, to have a minute, whatever it was, between Kelly and Toth. Obviously, we know Toth is having a little bit of a hand issue. So if he can get out of here with the second place finish and second place points, boy, he's going to be having a party tonight.
Yeah.
Because that was, last race he struggled through. I don't know if he even scored any points. I think he's maybe 17th in the class, if I remember correctly. So he scored like 4 points. It was a disastrous day for his championship hopes. And then to come back this weekend, if he's able to put it on the box in second, with only 3 weeks rest basically on that injured hand, he's very much keeping himself in this hunt for the championship. Rocknecker, as much as we can say he's new, and I'm a fan, I love seeing the new blood interjected, he's not performing to what I have expected based on what his resume is and the way he performed at the first race for him, which was round 13 of last season where he came out and won. These are the same guys he's racing against. Ben Kelly, Josh Toth were in the class. They were both racing at Ironman, and he beat them.
And, interesting enough, this is something that we've seen before. We've seen these guys. We see it when riders step up from maybe a Pro-Am to a Pro class, or from one class, B class to an A class. We see that particular race, and you have to wonder, I mean, they're in such a zone at that part of that time of the year, they have nothing to lose and everything to gain by going out there and doing well. Flip side of that, they start a new season. They've had all that time to think about it. They're going in. There's a lot of unknown variables at that particular point, and that has to be where.
Here they go. They're battling. Caleb Russell out front. Thad Duvall on his rear wheel. There is no separation, and those guys are absolutely flying.
Well, to take back what I said and what I was alluding to about Thad Duvall possibly maybe starting to make a couple little mistakes there, maybe not riding nearly as aggressive, because right there he didn't look any different than he did 3 weeks ago in Georgia. It might have just been that instance where getting some lap traffic and stuff like that, but here he is now, right there on the rear wheel, and he's right in the position that he wants and needs to be in order to take a win. Tyler, mic off. And with that, Johnny, I mean, again, all right, you asked me the question a couple weeks ago in Georgia. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, man.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Hold on. Jason Wygant to the announcer's booth.
I just got to say it. I mean, I'm going to pick Caleb this time, not because of what happened last time with Thad, but maybe because I'm trying to be on Thad's side and help him give it a little boost, because it always goes against what I say. But I'm thinking right now, Caleb's in that confidence zone. Thad had it, but he's been coming from behind all day long, except for that little bit that he was in the lead there. Now Caleb is back to where he wants to be. He's back in control of the situation. He's got all the problems from that time whenever all that gap was closed back up. He's got that all behind him now, and it's all about what's going on at this particular moment. He's been in this situation with that in the past, so this is nothing new. He's just riding the race that I think he was riding a few weeks ago. He's just extending it now.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Rodney. I'm going to go with Caleb, not because I don't think Thad is capable. I just know how the track plays out from where we saw them last in the finish. Here is the one variable, though. the biggest variable is they have a bike-only section where we've seen a big change in time and lappers, and I don't know what's over there because I don't have a bike. I race a quad, so I didn't see that. But the existing track from where we just saw them there at the, I believe that was, I can't remember the exact mile marker, but I don't know if we have that drone shot this time of at the 9 where we had before. So we may not see them come across that bridge. So we're going to be blind all the way until they come back across us there. We saw them at the FMF PowerPoint. We may not see them again until the 10-mile marker here. And from the 10-mile marker to the finish, I'll tell you, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. Lappers are the only thing that's going to cause these two to pass each other from here to the finish, because the way the track is, there's no multi-lines that, oh, here we go. Thad Duvall in the lead.
Wow. Already, and we were talking about looking for him to try to make a pass. He's already done it. Look at this crowd going crazy. Maybe, just maybe, Thad Duvall is going to be able to tame Steele Creek and get the redemption that he's been looking for so many years.
Yeah, and now this is where they're going to that bike-only section. So all the cards are on the table, and these guys are hammered down trying to make it work. They're out right now. They're going through some fields. They're wheel-to-wheel. They're battling. And then they're going into this bike-only section. Oh, look at this. And this is the bike-only section. It's a little bit dark, but we're going to get to see them when they cross the bridge. They should be here in probably about 20 seconds.
All right, so we'll be keeping an eye, watching with bated breath, so to speak. And
they should be going across that top line on the other side of that string you see up there is where we'll see them.
They'll be going from right to left.
They'll be going from right to left first and then left to right coming back.
So we'll wait and we'll watch. Man, that was pretty exciting. You know, you gotta wonder what could have happened there.
There they go. There's Thad Duvall. There's Caleb. So they're out. They're running that bike-only section, and now it's a battle. I don't know how long this section is, so it'll be a surprise when we see them come back.
So we've seen going into this section, Thad still has the advantage in the lead over KR now, and we'll see coming out of it if that has changed. Like you say, it's tight in there. I would almost have to think it's tough to pass. You might be able to make up time and gaps, but getting around might be a little different scenario.
Absolutely. I don't know how long this section is. I don't know if we're looking at them being gone for 15 seconds or 2 minutes. I have no idea. This is completely foreign to me. I didn't walk this. But absolutely, if it's a tight single track, you would think it would make it very difficult to pass. So that's going to favor Thad. Again, you know, I was going with Caleb because he was in the lead. Now Thad in the lead. I mean, he has to have the advantage coming through because all it is from here, and there he is. Nope, that's Alex Teagarden. That is not Thad Duvall. I got all excited, thought we were seeing a battle. Lappers, you can see the lapped riders are pretty thick as they come, so they're catching them in bunches. That's really going to possibly play into exactly how this race pans out.
There you go. Good point.
It already has. It's been a huge factor in this race already.
I think we saw yesterday's race as well. And that's the beauty of the different terrains and different places that we go to. It gives you different elements all the time to have to deal with and work with. And true champions are certainly, I think, procured through these types of races. I mean, gives you an opportunity to race every type of condition, every type of scenario, basically, in different types of soil in different areas. Mountainous, sandy, flat, you name it, rocky. We give you everything. And right here in Steele Creek, we got almost everything, I think, thrown at you at this one particular place.
Wow, this section's a lot longer than I thought, Rodney. And I'm sitting here literally twiddling my fingers.
You are.
I just don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to see the number one FMF KTM Caleb Russell in the lead, or is it still going to be the 989 Rockstar Racing Husqvarna of Thad Duvall? We should know here in a matter of, we don't know how long. There they are. Thad Duvall still leading the way. Caleb Russell on his rear wheel. They do have a lapped rider in front of them.
All over the old tunnel. That's coming out of the old start section over there. We had that start across the creek there for so long.
Look at this.
Oh!
Caleb made a run at him on the inside. Tried to make it work there.
Wow. I thought he had him there for a second. It looked like he nearly made that pass, but Caleb's not going to give this up. Big open field sections now as they come driving through. The crowd going crazy right now. Only inches separating these riders as they roll into the finish line. Chicanes now. And Thad Duvall.
That was it right there. That was Caleb's last-ditch effort, and it didn't work out.
Thad Duvall finally gets his redemption at Steele Creek and takes the win here at the FMF Steele Creek GNCC. It's been a long time coming for bad Thad Duvall. And this place right here could probably be the place as much as any that gave him that name, Bad Thad, the way that he would ride here. the way that he would just take the gloves off and fight it out and duke it out, he does it one more time. Today, he prevails as the winner. What an amazing day. And there it is, Caleb Russell shaking his head right now. Even his wife, they're kind of smiling, but you know, even though Caleb lost, he's frustrated with that, but at the same time, he's probably got to be thinking, that was fun.
Hey, you saw he came across the finish line. They high-fived each other. They shook hands. They nodded at each other. Obviously, they knew. They left it all out on the track, and now we'll wait an eternity for third place overall. I mean, those guys just absolutely were flying.
Wow. Let's take a look at that lap time, the gap. I didn't realize that we were that close to the finish line. That's how quick it all came together. 7 laps in, 4.5 seconds is the tail of the tape, but we know it was closer than that in reality. 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes or so is what we'll expect to have to wait for Trevor Bollinger. Then we'll get a chance to see the Ben Kelly race. We know that he should pretty much have that one solidified now that Josh has fallen to 1 minute and 33 seconds back. But what about Pascal Rockenecker? He had 1 minute and 41 seconds, but with the fading of Josh Toth there, you got to wonder if maybe he might be able to capitalize on that, maybe move up to second.
Absolutely. There we see Chad Duvall, and that's actually where the nickname Bad Thad came from. It was Bad Chad Duvall,
right.
And Thad was the little guy, so he got to be Bad Thad. But he's earned it. He earned it many times before, and he certainly earned it today.
Well,
he's the baddest man on the Steele Creek track. He went out there, he put in the work, he did it, he made it happen, and wow, that was exciting to watch.
It was. He has left it out here before. This place has sent him away, and today he sends it away. Man, talk about the mysteries of this place. I mean, I say it all the time. Something strange always happens here at Steele Creek GNCC. Something out of the ordinary, something out of that you don't necessarily expect. We saw it yesterday in the ATVs. If you were here in the pits last night, you saw craziness things happen going on here. Personally, here myself, I've had my battles to have to contend with here this weekend. But all in all, when it's all said and done, it's always good in the end.
Well, I'll tell you what, as we were watching that on screen coming through those final chicanes, and Caleb went wide to try and square him up, you know, and they were dive bombing each other coming into the corners. I had flashbacks to Barry Hawk and Glenn Keegan.
Right.
All I could think of was, oh, man, they better move everybody at the finish line because these guys are taking it too. Caleb tried that outside line, went all the way to the FMF banners, and it just didn't stick. He washed the front end, had to check up, and you saw right there, he dropped his shoulders, he took his hand off, and he knew he took his last shot, but Thad Duvall outlasted him today. What a battle. Look at these two. Keep in mind, Rodney, these two right here used to play little motorcycles together in the dirt at these GNCC races about 20 years ago.
And now they play big
motorcycles. Now they play big dirt bike races, and they are the baddest two off-road riders in the United States of America right now.
Yeah, I agree. And anybody in this realm, it's going to be tough for them to come into their realm and beat them, that's for sure. So, wow. These guys are certainly icons in the world of motorcycle racing. There's no doubt about it. I know Mikey Waynes is down around that neck of the woods someplace. He'll be catching up with our winners here in just a few moments. Still waiting on Trevor Bollinger, by the way. I'm thinking he's still about 2 minutes before we'll see him, maybe a minute and a half before we'll be seeing him check in here. But Bollinger, how about it? Best finish of his career, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. As an XC1. With an XC, as an XC1.
You got that, nailed it. He's the best XC1 finish overall ever. And I tell you what, Rodney, as we watch it on screen, Thad Duvall riding away, thought that was a pretty cool shot. Those two sitting side by side. It just brings back so many memories. And as you like to always say, Rodney, that's what GNCC racing's all about. These guys grew up, again, playing on bicycles together. They went from there to racing mini bikes together. You know, they were never in the same class until they got to XC2. XC2 was the first time they raced each other back in 2008, I believe it was. And now here we are, 10 years later, Clash of the Titans. They meet again. And they are just absolutely taking this whole thing, this whole sport that they grew up as a part of, to another level. And wow, was that exciting to watch.
It was, and you're right, new levels. You nailed it right there, new levels, and you gave me goosebumps in saying that. I, myself personally, have watched this series grow leaps and bounds to new levels all the time, and it's great riders like this that help project it even further. And, you know, I said coming into this year, if you remember reading a lot of my there's Bollinger coming in. He's got to be pretty stoked. How about it? North Carolina, put your hands together for your own. Trevor Bollinger going to take third place overall here today. His top finish as an XC1 rider, and you can hear I can hear the crowd all the way down here, man. That's crazy. Those guys are pretty pumped up for him, no doubt about that.
Very cool. Congrats to Trevor and his JCR Honda team. Those guys have worked hard for him to get that XC1 podium. You know, it's been a long road, but he's there now, and now he knows what he needs to do to keep doing it again. That can't be Ben Kelly. It is not Ben Kelly.
No, not
yet. It looks like him, same gear, but that's not him. That would have given him 3rd overall podium for sure. He's about 2 minutes behind Trevor Bollinger. So that was camera guy got excited. We thought it was him for a moment too, but definitely not him. Here we see some other riders coming through. These guys still having their own battles, coming all the way to the finish. The next rider that we should see should be Stu Baylor, and then after that we should see Ben Kelly after that.
Wow, just again, just great day. Well, it looks like Mikey Wayne's down in our victory circle. Let's head on down and talk with our winners.
Well, Thad Duvall, man, I think back to last season, you said, I want to beat him, but I want to beat him head-to-head. You got that opportunity today.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was a long race for sure with lappers, and, you know, he got the whole shot, and he just, like, I don't know, I kind of got stuck behind a couple guys, and he just checked out, and I come out in the fields, and I couldn't even see it, and I'm like, oh, man, it's, like, going to be a long day, and, you know, I put my head down in charge, and I knew once he started hitting lappers, I feel like he kind of would slow him up a little bit, and luckily it did, and I was able to catch back up, and man, it was on from there. Just, you know, I knew it was going to come down to whoever was the smartest, and, you know, I would get the lead, and a lapper would mess me up, and he would get the lead, and luckily I got the good end of the stick on the last lap, like with 2 miles to go. A lapper kind of bobbled us both up, and I was able to go around, and then it was a dogfight to the end. I think just the last field section, I was so nervous because I know Caleb's a little bit better with me in the field, so I just I was riding so hard, and it feels good to win straight up. So, you know, it was a good day for sure.
So I'm going to take your words. Win straight up. That's exactly what you did today. Do you kind of feel like the monkey's off your back with that?
Yeah, they always say that the first one's the hardest, so hopefully we can click a couple off like we did last year and try to get this gap for the championship down. And, you know, me beating him, that's gonna light a fire under him, so I just need to keep working hard and doing what I'm doing and go from there.
There you go. Thad Duvall, first place finisher today in the XC1.
Wow. There you go. He said he wanted to beat him, and that's it, man. I mean, you know, it's not that Thad hasn't necessarily ever won a race against Caleb Russell before, but not many people have beat Caleb Russell straight up like that.
Yeah, and a last lap shootout like that, you know, that's that's pretty impressive.
It is. I mean, I'm looking back. I can remember seeing Josh Strang and Caleb Russell go at it like that. I remember Charlie Mullins and Caleb Russell going at it like that on several occasions. And I mean, Charlie had tough times doing that, and so did Josh, and anybody else that's ever had the opportunity to do that. And for Thad to be able to pull it off, he's got to be feeling extra special good right now. Down to the winner's circle we go one more time with Mikey Wayne standing by with today's second place finish in Caleb Russell.
Well, Caleb, we've not said it all season, man. You were 3 for 3 coming into this one, and what a battle today with Thad.
Yeah, it was a good race. I mean, I tried to get out front there, and my game plan coming in the race was try to get a good start, and if I got a good start, just sprint straight away and try to gap those guys, and that's exactly what I did. And I had a 20-second lead, and then get to the lappers on the third lap, and those guys, I don't know, man. They were horrendous today. Really, they were struggling so bad. And I mean, 20 seconds was gone, and like, you know, it seemed like a split second. So, and we gassed that lap. I let him ride around me in the pits, and I was content following him, and he was going good. And we duked it back and forth there for a few laps, and then last lap, about a mile from the finish, a guy just stops in front of me again when I was in the lead. And I mean, it's a bummer when it stings when you lose like that. You know, it's out of your control completely. Like I couldn't have done anything. I had a 50-50 shot with that guy in front of me, but stopped in front of me, and that was riding really good, and he was able to capitalize. And he was able to, you know, hang with me there in the end, and he was right there to capitalize on the mistake. And tried to run him down there in the last few turns and put some pressure on him, but the last few turns are super slick and nothing I could really do, and he was riding good. You know, he was able to you know, get by when it counted.
So does this kind of reignite that fire of competition between you and Thad going into round 5?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of those things that we've been neck and neck, and it's only a matter of time before he gets the job done. I mean, it's not going to go my way every time. I mean, like you see there, it's with the lappers, it can be the flip of a coin. It can change your luck in a heartbeat. So, yeah, we'll go home and keep doing work, and I'm having a good time. So it was a good day.
There we go. Caleb Russell with the second place today out of the XC1.
All right, phenomenal ride. I tell you, thank you, Caleb, for a great race today and putting on a great show. I had you picked, man. I picked you to win this one today.
And the curse of the Rodney Tomlin
pick
continues. If Rodney picks you to win, you're not going to win. I'll tell you who's not happy about Caleb getting second today, and that's me. Not because I don't want to see Thad win. Thad worked for it. He earned it. But staying at Caleb's place this week is not going to be that fun with him getting second. That means the road bike rides, the mountain bike rides, everything.
They're going to be harder.
That much gnarlier. So thanks, Thad. I owe you one, bud. My legs are not happy about it.
Well, it might pay bigger dividends when we go to Camp Coker.
Maybe I'll come out and win Camp Coker.
There you go. No, you're not going to win.
No, don't.
Walker's going to win that one.
Look at this guy. Look how happy this guy is right here.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a guy on screen. He's gone now. But there he is.
That's that Native American blood in him. He's able to do that. Peekaboo. Hey, let's head on down to the hometown hero, Trevor Bollinger.
Well, Trevor Bollinger, man, first XC1 podium and in your hometown, brother. How good does that sound? How good does that feel?
Yeah, it feels good. We got off to a decent start, and then I made my way to third pretty quick, and Caleb and Thad were already going, so I tried to catch him for like 2 laps, and then I realized it was going to be hard to do, so I just tried to ride my own race from there and bring it in for third.
So, man, what kind of confidence does this give you? I mean, first of all, hometown, that's got to feel good. And what kind of confidence does this give you moving forward in the 2018 season after this podium finish?
Yeah, for sure. I've been fourth 3 times now, and to finally get the podium, it feels good. And, I just want to build from here. I'm definitely not happy with third, and, I want to do better, but it's a good starting point.
Congratulations, Trevor, on the podium, man. I believe the celebration will be on for this hometown hero this weekend.
Well, I'll tell you right there, we were talking about the way people talk during the broadcast. He mentions and talks just exactly like a person that's on his way to winning talks. He doesn't talk about top 5s and top 3s. He wants to win. He's not satisfied with third. It's good. It's okay. But he wants more. And that's good for the state of GNCC racing, I think, because that means that the competition is still out there and these guys are still working hard to try to reach the levels as this young man saunters through his own home soils here in Morganton, North Carolina. And
you got to wonder, is Trevor Bollinger the real winner today? And the reason I say that is he's going to be showered and in bed before most of us even make it to dinner.
That's true. He's right here. I mean, really, right at home. And I think that's awesome. That's great. Top 3, again, Thad Duvall, Caleb Russell, Trevor Bollinger. Ben Kelly will get credit for the 4th place overall position. Josh Toth has checked in 2 minutes, 20 seconds back in 6th place overall, 2nd in the XC2 250 class. And Pascal Rockenecker also checking in with us as well as we head back down to the winner's circle with Mikey Waynes.
Hey, guys, down here with Ben Kelly, your points leader on the season, and adding to that one here today. Talk to us about Steele Creek.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild race out there. The track was awesome. I loved it. It was a lot of fun with the big uphills and downhills, and the dirt was perfect. Track definitely got gnarly, a lot of big holes and stuff, but I think the name of the game today were just lappers. There were so many people out there, and the track was hard to pass, but happy to get through semi-unscathed and get another win.
Well, congratulations, Ben. Man, you've got it. The confidence has got to be high moving into the rest of this season.
Yeah, I feel good, but I know it's a long season, so I'm just going to take it one race at a time and just try to get another win at Camp Coker.
There you go. Ben Kelly, your winner today in the XC2.
Absolutely. Great ride today, Ben Kelly, with that XC2 win, so that makes 3 in a row for him now. 4
and points
in.
Leader.
Points leader, yep. He took possession of that points leader in Georgia a few weeks ago. Those guys it looks like Lil D there. They're checking out the bike, getting some photos, little photo opportunity. Good racing for those guys today for sure. And Josh Toth there in second, Pascal Rocknicker in third. Those guys absolutely just, again, the level of separation in the XC2 class today just absolutely amazed me comparative to the wheel-to-wheel battle that we saw for the win in the XC1 class.
I'm sorry, but Rocknicker is still a lot of fun to say. I actually got it right, I think. At least he tells me I get it right. And, in my mind's eye, in my mind's ear, it sounds like what he says, so I'm good to go with that.
Man, it works. Call it good.
So, hey, man, how about this? Let's go ahead and look through the top 20 for these all these guys right now. As we told you, DeBall, Russell, Bollinger, Kelly, Baylor, your top 5. Josh Toth in 6th. Josh Strang finishes in 7th. Jordan Ashburn is 8th. Lane Michael in 9th. Rocknacher in the 10th place position. As we look at the leaderboard there, 11th now, Ricky Russell. 12th is Corey Buttrick. Craig DeLong in 13th. Nick Davis in 14th. Liam Draper in 15th. Jesse Grom in the 16th place position. Michael Witkowski is 17th. 18th, Trevor Barrett. 19th, Zach Hayes. And Evan Smith rounds out your top 20 overall. And how about it there for Craig DeLong? He scoring a 13th place position there. And good to see that, you know, he may not be where he wants to be, but he's keeping top 20, man. This is one of those days. These are the days that you come to these places like this, and it's really hard, man. I mean, either it goes well for you or it don't go so well, and even if it's not going well, you got to make the best of whatever it is, or it's really going to go bad.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you gotta maintain points on your bad days, and be curious to see how that XC3 class shakes out. I don't think those guys have checked in yet. Probably be a couple minutes till we see those guys, but absolutely, you know, Rodney, the track just shaped up. It's so much different than what it was this morning and even yesterday. The sun came out, the wind came out, and things just dried up. And the one thing that didn't dry up was the action. It got better than ever.
It got better than ever, and I can tell you it's only going to get better when we move a little further south to Camp Coker, South Carolina, Society Hill, South Carolina, I guess it should be, for our next round of GNCC racing. That's 2 weeks from now. We certainly hope that you join us there. The new Black 7 band's going to be playing, courtesy of Monster Energy, when we head into Camp Coker in a couple of weeks, and we hope to see you folks all over there. And again, congratulations to Thad DeVaul, finally taming the mountains of North Carolina, my friends. And for Johnny Gallagher, Jason Wygant, Mikey Waynes, and all of us here at RacerTV.com, I'm Rodney Tomlin. Have a great day, everybody.